more engagement from you guys on our YouTube channel as well. And so tonight's topic is Metcalf, victim or bully? What should justice look like? I don't think we've gotten to that part of the conversation yet. So I'll pose it to the stage, to you guys. What should justice look like? Anyone want to answer?
Um, it
It
shall
looked like
what
you
what?
shooting that guy for asking you if you handicapped. So that's what I wanted to ask you. You was for to shoot that man that asked you if you was handicapped?
I
Cause
was
that's
about
what it
to say, you
sounded
stick
like.
around, you about to get this PTSD in your life, and you figure out why I'm handicapped. It's about to flare up. But Marty, I get it a lot, and I'm like, who made you the doggone mall cop of the parking lot, the safety patrol? Why are you walking up to strangers trying to police them?
Hey,
I get that. I get that same shit too,
yeah,
champ.
hey, that's one question for the room, for the people that want to answer. Why do y'all do that? The ones that seen here that do it, I got an auntie that do it. What what makes you have the bold guts to be like, hey, why are you selling your food stamps? Why?
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, we're gonna
I
move
want to
on
know
from
the
that
answer.
food
Somebody
stamp
want to answer.
comment.
Like,
That
why do
yeah,
people don't mind their own
it's a
business?
lot higher
What?
level of people here. Let's move on from that food stamp conversation.
Yeah, Marty. What were you saying, Marty?
No, that wasn't me. That was Antonio talking just now.
Oh no, not him. You were saying what would you done? That man walked up to you and told you you don't look handicapped.
Well, shit. I mean, I'll be honest, I probably laugh and I'd ask him, what does a handicap look like while I continue on about my business. I'll be honest, I used to park in handicap spots all the time until I said, you know what, let me stop doing that. But if somebody were to come ask me, hey, you don't look handicapped, what makes you handicapped? I would ask them, what does a handicap look like?
Can
Yeah,
I
just
ask?
so I can show you better, I can tell you.
Can
I
I ask a question?
I would have chat.
Because
It's already been a question asked. The question is, what does justice look like? For me, justice in this case right here, if this person is a first time offender, right, they got to be sentenced under first time offender guidelines. And his character has to speak for his character. So maybe he should get something that is lenient, whether it be probation or a short sentence, considering the fact that he's a youthful offender.
Should have never had a
So
knife.
you've already convicted him already, huh?
I agree with you, Marty.
I want to
So
know. Oh,
yeah, justice, what it should look like. First of all, reduce his bail so that he could be able to have a chance of being free, like we would do for any other person, and that we've done for every other similar cases in the United States. Let's start with that. Secondly, we have to determine who was the aggressor and who has the right of self-defense, because that's what it boils down to. At the end of the day, he was wrong in carrying a knife where he shouldn't carry a knife. Okay, charge him with possession, illegal possession of a weapon. Okay, you got that. But when it comes to him defending his life and gambling with his life, I don't think anybody can make that determination. That's why we have that law. That was why we have that law. When somebody feels that his life is threatened, for him to do what he has to do to defend his life when there is nothing else. Okay, so if somebody else is entitled to that right, why not him? That's what justice is all about, right? Because what is good for the geese is also good for the gander. Was he the aggressor, or did somebody attack him? And what is does he have any reason to feel attacked? I mean, if we are 5'5", 5'6", 7", and somebody 250, 260 pounds, almost 6 feet coming to you, would you feel threatened after you warned him one or two times? Right? I mean, that's what justice is all about. We should start thinking of that in that area rather than jumping to conclusion here and say that this guy is offended. Supposing he got killed, when we are talking about this, there is a similar case in America somewhere that I came across. I haven't really dived into it. About two boys, colored boys that were adopted. I think they went into a taxi or whatever the case may be, heading to the airport. They never got there and they were missing or they were killed or something to that effect, right? So that's not making the news, but it should come around. So the point is, you are living in a system, okay, and you are one of the race that has been much more persecuted in this country. There is no race that have endured the amount of persecution, oppression, and repression in this country than the colored race. Okay? How much, when are you going? Every race else that has been slightly persecuted in America has a role defending them. The Chinese, the Jews, everybody else. All right? How much more do you expect the colored people to retreat? To where, to when? If there is any race in America that deserves protection, it is the black people. And it just appalls me that black people will just stay here and compromise the slightest chance for them to get freedom, the slightest chance for them to get some kind of autonomy, privilege, and protection. You are here arguing about it. Then you don't deserve it. You
Uh,
deserve to continue to be
So
persecuted.
Jew, I don't want to interrupt you, but
Well, you
no, no,
did. Go
no,
ahead.
no, because we are free. You said freedom. I just want. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing,
Look,
but you
bro,
said freedom. I just want.
if you don't feel that your freedom in the United States of America is threatened, then we shouldn't be having this debate because that is all about.
Threatened
Because
by
there is no
this?
reason where that boy is defending his life. He didn't go out looking for no trouble. The guy went in looking for shelter, if there is anything, and he got attacked, and he defended himself, and he's now sitting in a jail cell with $1 million bail that he cannot fit. So if you think that you're free, then maybe I have a different definition of freedom for you. Because you know what that boy is? That boy is the microcosm of your race in general. Because if you happen to that boy, it could happen to your son, God forbid, and it could happen to you by extension. And I rest.
Here's where I am with it, and I try to be completely unbiased with it. If he if he was not defending himself, I don't have any problem with him going to prison. If he was defending himself, I think that he should be set free. How many other people can say coming into this that they're non-biased towards it? I've also noticed that there's a certain energy with with some people whom, if we could go back in time 12, 13, 14 years and look at their posts and their comments concerning Zimmerman, would it match up with what they're putting out now? Because I'm pretty sure that when it was Zimmerman's time, they were all for self-defense, and that teenager was just beating him to within an inch of his life. And oh my God, poor guy. And he has a right to defend himself. But now with this case, why did he have a knife? You know, which comes to uh, 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 um, how like what's the change of the vibe for this? Why has the vibe changed for it? And people often say, why don't we reverse the roles? Why don't we reverse roles and say that Carmelo was a 5'9", 150-pound white guy, and those two twins were 6'2", 225-pound black guys, and that 6'2", 225-pound black guy rolled up on that 5'9", 150-pound white guy, would the vibe still be the same out here? I don't think so. I don't think history has shown that. I think the same people saying, why did he have a knife, would be saying that 5'9", 150-pound white guy was in fear for his life at those two big black guys, that he had a right to defend himself. I don't know if everyone else picks up on it, but that's what I am picking up on it. And just to land, I wish that we could go back and check some of these people's posting from the Trayvon era, from the Mike Brown era, when they were all for self defense then. But I land.
So let me thank you for that share. Some people may not remember the Trayvon Martin case, and they may not understand the correlation, or why people are making the correlation, right? So, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but Trayvon was visiting his father. He went to the store, got a pack of Skittles and a drink. Correct?
Yep, I see.
Okay.
Yep, Arizona.
He is walking in his dad's neighborhood from the store to his dad's home. Zimmerman, who is quote unquote neighborhood watch, who is, and Trayvon was 16.
Yeah, you got something important. He's watching a basketball game, and he decided to go get some food, a little treats for himself during the basketball game. That's important, okay? Because there was no malice whatsoever. But go ahead.
What was no malice?
That he had no malice. He just went to the store. He during the basketball game, during the time.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he's watching, enjoying the game, and he just wanted to go get a treat. So it's very important that because of how innocent it was, there was no malice at all on what you call it. Trayvon had no malice, no nothing.
Mhm.
But go ahead.
Yes, yes, right. Yeah, no, no, he was just a kid getting some snacks. Okay. Zimmerman called 911 and said that there was a suspicious person, a black, they asked him to describe it. He said a black man that was walking in the neighborhood and he looked suspicious because he had a hoodie on. The 911 operator told him not to engage. Told him not to engage. He had already reported it to the police. And this is what I don't remember, but from what I do remember, he got out of his vehicle and confronted Trayvon Martin. Is that correct?
Nah, no,
Correct.
that's not true.
What
No,
happened
He
no,
was
was
no,
following him.
no,
he was following him on
no,
foot.
no,
Yeah.
1 second, he's following
no.
him on foot, and the 911 told him that don't worry about. Now Trayvon was looking back. Trayvon Martin, once again, all he was is a 16-year-old kid. He went to get Skittles and a drink. Okay, and I know this has probably been spent a whole bunch of different ways, and he's been made to be the bad guy, which it really isn't. So Zimmerman followed him, and then Zimmerman said, "I'm tired of them." He made it. I'm tired of them doing this in our neighborhood. Like basically, he labeled this kid a burglar. He labeled the kid all kinds of stuff. So Zimmerman approached Trayvon. Okay, after the operator told him not to approach him, they got into a fist fight. Okay, because once again, Trayvon was on his way. He sees some guy following him.
That's not
Okay,
true, John.
and 1 second. They saw some guy following him. So Trayvon and and George Zimmerman got into a fight. George Zimmerman subsequently shot and killed Trayvon, and said he was standing his ground and it was self defense. There you go. So I just want to put it out there. That's the real story. There's no
That
spice. There's no nothing. And the police
no,
report would say the same thing.
that's not
But go
true.
ahead.
That's not
Matter of
true.
fact, that's not what.
That's not true,
What's
John.
not
That's not.
true?
I'm about to tell you what happened because the young lady that was on the phone with Trayvon, her name is Rachel. She was interviewed by Piers Morgan, and what she said was Zimmerman was following him, but Trayvon had ducked through some bushes or whatever, and he actually turned around and went back to Zimmerman. And the reason why he turned around to go back to Zimmerman because they thought that Zimmerman might have been a non-heterosexual and might do something to Trayvon's brother who was still at the house. All you got to do is look this up and you'll hear this young lady say this. She was on the phone with Trayvon and that was the conversation that they had.
No,
Trayvon
that's not
decided
true,
not,
man.
no, no, not how you gonna tell me it's not true? And I watched the video myself. The young lady gave that account.
But you all
Yeah,
that's
we
we
don't want
don't
to get into all that. We
we
don't
don't
want to
want
get
to
into
get
all that.
into all of that at
Yeah, we're not
all.
getting into all that.
No, wait, hold on,
Okay.
No.
hold on.
What
Wait,
what
hold
what,
on,
what we're
John. Wait,
saying
hold
is
on,
this
John.
kid was
Wait,
an
hold on,
innocent
John.
kid. 1 second, please. 1 second,
But
please.
that's a
What we're
that's a
saying? No, no,
crucial
no,
point
no,
to
no.
make.
1 second, please. What all we're saying is it was an innocent kid that had no agenda.
I
that walked to
agree.
the store to get Skittles. This is why shit gets fucked up when we have a room full of people and you're gonna try to explain it real quick and you don't have all the time.
Mm-hmm.
No, and we don't have the
Jonathan, look
documentation.
it up. It's on
Okay,
video.
well,
She
one
said
mic.
it.
Who the fuck is one mic, please? One
Ron,
mic.
Ron, come on
Ron,
now.
Ron, one mic, bro. You know, come on, bro. One
I
mic.
got you.
Because what you're doing right now, you're not even thinking. Because once again, we don't even seem like we got the facts right because you're jumping in. I gave factual shit. Okay? No matter if that happened, he was being followed. I didn't say anything incorrect. He was being followed. There was a 911. We heard a 911. I didn't say anything wrong. Now, if there's some extra shit there, that doesn't make your shit look better. It makes it probably look worse. It's the same thing when you guys were talking about some. Oh yeah, he this guy was bullying him, and he saw him at a party, and that made it look like it was premeditated. When you guys started saying this shit about this case right here, but I'm actually verifying the shit you said, Ron. But I'm not letting shit go out there, and you're the only one that out of all the people in here, that couple hundred people in here that heard that. So I'm going to go look that up right
Oh,
now.
I have
But
no
once
problem with
again,
that.
once again, you got people thinking that, oh, there's probably okay, there's probably some foul play there. Thank you for opening your mic. When I put out the real basic information.
Thank you, JB. Yeah, there's a reason why. That's why I'm not getting into those details. The reason why is because the cases are similar. That there's a thing called implicit bias, right? And when people say I don't see race or it isn't race, I get it. But for some and for most of us, there is an implicit bias there. So we hear a story. That's why, if y'all think about it, you hear a story, right? Something, I think they do this with Florida, out of Florida, right? But it's like, who do you think did committed this crime, or who do you think did this? And based on the crime, people say, that was a white guy, or that was a black guy, or Hispanic guy, or whatever. Like, we all have some level of implicit bias, right? That colors our perception, right? That's my first point. My second point is this is very similar, right? No, it wasn't at school, but he was where he was supposed to be. He was in his father's neighborhood. The thing was he wasn't, Zimmerman said that he wasn't supposed to be there, and he posed no threat. Austin said that Anthony wasn't supposed to be there, and he posed no threat. So why did both of these individuals put it on themselves to confront someone that poses no threat, to remove them from a place that they were supposed to be? Who in the hell gave either one of them the authority to do so? Now, what if Trayvon had a gun and shot Zimmerman? He would have been well within his right to do so. But the point is, and why this is very similar, and I hope you guys are understanding the correlation for those of you that didn't. The correlation is, who in the world gave him the right to confront this other kid, this peer of his, and tell him that you cannot sit here in the pouring rain? Like, if somebody was treating your child like that. And also, we also don't know, there's another little thing called the school to prison pipeline, that black children and brown children are given tougher disciplinary actions because of their skin color. So you cannot see race or not believe that implicit bias doesn't affect you, but it actually colors your decisions and even your perceptions. And I'll leave it there. Hopefully that made sense.
Can I
I'm so
respond to
glad you
that?
brought that. I'm so glad
Oh,
you
no,
brought
no,
that
no,
up.
no. I want to
So
jump in. 1 second, guys, because I got to jump in because what Ronto did, Entrepreneur did is did a disservice to Trayvon Martin, did everything, a disservice to the whole room with that.
Yeah.
And it makes people wonder. Guys, you can go to Wikipedia, okay, and it spells it out because what you did, you're making it seem as if he was a possible aggressor. Okay, and even in Wikipedia, it says Tracy Martin took his son to Sanford. Matter of fact, I'll read the top part, okay, because it says, as was a 17-year-old from Miami Gardens who was fatally shot in Sanford, Florida, by George Zimmerman, a 28-year-old Hispanic American. Let's see here. On the evening of February 26th, Martin was walking back uh, to the fiance's house, I'm talking about the husband's fiance house, from a nearby convenience store. Zimmerman, a member of the community watch, saw Martin and reported him to the Sanford police as suspicious. Several minutes later, an altercation happened, and Zimmerman fatally shot Martin in the chest. Okay. Zimmer was injured during the altercation with Martin. He said he shot Martin in self-defense and was not charged at the time. The police said there was no evidence to refute his claim of self-defense, and Florida's stand your ground law prohibited them from arresting, and charging him. After a national focus on the incident, Zimmerman was eventually charged and tried. Okay, but once again, guys, and I want to go right here. It says Tracy Martin said he took his son to Sanford to disconnect and get his priorities straight. Martin had been to Twin Lakes, which is the development, several times before with his father, and sometimes played football with the other kids in the neighborhood. On the night of the shooting, Tracy was out to dinner with his fiancee Brandy Green, while Tracy and Green's son stayed at home watching TV and playing video games. Trayvon went out walking to a local 7-Eleven store where he brought Skittles, candy, and an Arizona watermelon drink. As Martin was returning from the store to the Twin Lakes neighborhood, Zimmerman, a volunteer neighborhood watch person, spotted Martin, who was 5'11", okay, and weighed 158 pounds at the time of his death. Zimmerman called Stanford police and reported Martin, he said, appeared to be suspicious. There was an altercation between the two in which Zimmerman shot Martin, killing him. Zimmerman claimed self-defense and was eventually charged in Martin's death. On June 10th, 2013, Zimmerman's trial begins in Sanford, yada, yada, yada. Listen to me, guys. Please put all that other stuff out of your head. Okay, it's not verified. Okay, this is basically what it is. And I think him coming off and saying what he said does a disservice to this right here,
John,
because
John Jonathan,
it was a 16-year-old kid that walked to the store, wasn't bothering anyone.
John,
All right, and he just happened to wear a hoodie on his head, and he was walking, and the guy saw him and said he looked suspicious, and it eventually led to his death.
Jonathan,
That's what happened.
Jonathan. I'm not,
So I'd say I want to move on because I don't want to have any more conversation on this
but
about stuff that's not
but
documented.
Jonathan, you taking what I'm saying out of
Can I
Here
can
context.
we
I
go.
say
We're gonna do it
something?
again. We're gonna do it again. We're
No,
about
can
to
I
do it
say
again.
something to that?
We're about to do it again. We're about to do it again.
No, Jonathan, I was agreeing with what you said. I'm not disputing any of that. I was only saying what Rachel said on the interview. That's all I was saying. I just pay attention to that. And I'm looking it up now so I can send it to you. That's all I was saying.
But
So
why?
this is the thing about those two cases. You cannot compare them two cases
Who's this?
together.
Jaham?
They yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. Some more
incomparable.
bullshit.
No, it's real. It's
No, no.
my
Actually,
word against your word.
actually, both parties were approached. Okay, and once again, I'm not feeling the stand your ground in this Texas case. I'm not feeling that. Okay, but I do agree, and not yet until I get more information. I'm not feeling it. I'm not
Understood.
saying so. I differ on both of these cases. Martin was I think Zimmerman should have went to prison. This case right here, I like I said, I'm still seeking more information on. So when you sit here, both of them were approached, okay, by a party. They didn't. Okay, and so that's what happened. And one incident, the one had the knife, and the other. So I don't know. Maybe if Trayvon had a knife, Trayvon would be doing life in prison right now.
Mm.
This is what I'm saying, Jonathan.
Oh my
In the
God.
Zimmerman case, you can't compare Zimmerman with what's currently happening, because in what's currently happening, there are witnesses. In the Zimmerman case, there are zero witnesses, so we cannot compare the two.
Bro, we're not
The
talking about witnesses here,
911,
bro.
what the
It, it, it,
911
there's
operator
a
was a witness.
911 tape. Exactly. It's crazy as hell. Yeah, Jahim, bro. I guess what? Welcome to Debate the News. I'm glad to have you here. You're now officially content from here on out.
Okay,
The girlfriend on the
so
phone was a witness.
and that's the thing. So there was a confrontation, a verbal confrontation before the physical confrontation. I lived in Florida. There was, and this was on the news 24/7. There was a verbal confrontation, and the neighbors heard the verbal confrontation before the physical confrontation started. This is a known fact in Florida. And there were only
Hey, but
one person
Johnson.
to tell their story, which is Zimmerman. So we cannot compare back then till now. Because a dead man
So,
tells no
but here's
tale.
the problem with what you're. Oh, he's not done.
Go ahead, go
So
ahead.
the problem with what you're saying though is that Zimmerman actually laid it out to where people never agree with them in the first place. But you have a confrontation that's created by one person, and the end results. Now you're trying to say that the blame doesn't fall on the person who created the confrontation in the first place. Both these cases have someone who created confrontation. They ended on different sides of the scale, but you're saying that it's not you can't compare, even though you have someone who created the confrontation. The confrontation actually happened. There's an end result, and someone dies. And now you look back at both of them, and you have to break it down piece by piece, and you see a pattern. But you're saying even though the pattern is seen by pretty much everyone who's comparing them, you're saying you don't see that pattern.
As much as you could say, yes, there's a pattern, it's you can't compare the two because there's only one person giving their story of of what happened. The person on the phone, which is a 911 call, the call ended before the confrontation. So that's what I'm saying. The call ended before the confrontation started.
What did she tell him? What was her instructions to him?
Her instruction to him was not to proceed, not to follow him, and he still followed.
And he
Yes,
did, right?
correct.
He
Like
created the confrontation.
so,
So he initiated the confrontation.
okay, and if he initiated a confrontation
Did
at
he
this point,
did he initiate the confrontation? He was
he followed
instructed not
him.
to do anything. He also
Correct,
chose not to wait on the police, the real
correct,
authorities. And
correct.
he
All that is
chose to
correct.
take matters into his own hands and
And this is the point,
initiate the confrontation. Is that
and that's the
correct?
point. And no, and that's the point where the
So,
gray
what is
area
incorrect
starts.
about what I said?
Because that's the point where the gray area starts. Because what
No, no,
he
no.
told,
What was
oh Lord,
incorrect about what I said?
you said he initiated the confrontation, correct? That's what you said, correct?
I asked you, did he? He was told, you agreed that the operator
Yeah, yeah,
told
yeah.
him.
We're not gonna get anywhere with Jai. You know what? Whatever
Okay.
your point is relevant to you. So that's fine. You convinced yourself. Great job. And and so that's what you're here. You shared your information. You convinced yourself. All right, Skull. Are you here, Skull? Oh yeah, yes. Hey, what's
I
up,
am
Skull?
indeed. I am indeed.
Skull? How do you feel about this thing that's going on in Texas?
Well, I just took a test that chat recommended through Harvard, and I'll say this: it said that I have a slight preference for white people, and I'm slightly biased. However, I also guessed that I was slightly biased, so I have the exact amount of racism that I thought I had, which I don't know if that's good or bad. At least I'm self-aware. I don't know. Anyway, so it was an interesting test
Yeah,
that
your
chat.
results do indicate that you are. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an interesting test that chat put in there, and I think it's interesting. It only takes a couple minutes to do it, but it's interesting. What's sort of shocking to me is like 51% of people are more than me, but I guess not. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. There's a lot of that going around. So, yeah, I'll land there. I don't know what else to really say on this topic other
No,
than it's one of these things where it's like clearly, I think that if there wasn't a racial component here, I think this story would not be as heavily covered as it is. And that's all I'm going to say is that it seems to be that is a component as to why this story is getting so much traction. And I'll land.
no, fair enough. I was picking on you because you said you gonna stay cute on mute during this discussion, and that's why I called you actually. But no, absolutely, man. No, I appreciate that. Just wanted to put that out there, guys. Once again, guys. Hey, real quick, the podcast up top. We have the links up top. Hopefully, it's on both platforms. If not, I'll put it on the other platform. But guys, make sure you are downloading, or following the podcast and downloading, um, downloading some episodes. No, it's not up there, so I'll put it up there real quick on the other platform. Yeah, make sure you guys are following the podcast, downloading the episodes, because this discussion right here will be up tomorrow. Okay, and we have last night discussion up already, and it is fire, guys. People are downloading that, commenting on that one. That one has been one for the ages. We actually had that. We did 3 episodes out of it last night, and put all 3 episodes up today. So the links up top for both platforms. Make sure you guys download and follow the podcast, guys. Download and follow the podcast, no matter where you listen, whether it is Spotify, whether it's Amazon, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, wherever you go to listen to it, Pandora, wherever you go to listen to your podcast, Overcast, wherever it may be, you guys will be able to actually get our the podcast. Hey, and if you're at home listening to this bonus episode, guys, download the Chatter Social app. Okay, you can download that either on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and come here and partake. We've had people listen to us on the podcast from Dubai and come join us, and because they want to take part in the live discussion. So we'd love to see some more of you guys that's listening to us on the podcast. Come over here and join the discussion live with us as well. So with that being said, we're going to get back to it, guys. Um, the Austin Metcalf was laid to rest today. His family did have funeral services for him today. And, right now, Carmelo Anthony is still, he's locked up in he's in jail right now, awaiting bond. So, with that being said, folks, I want us to keep this thing going. Anyone that has any contribution about how they feel about this, listen to me. Um, Austin approaching him twice. I didn't know about that. I found out about that tonight. Austin approaching him twice is something that I just found out about. And that I think Carmelo has a right to protect himself. Okay, now if Carmelo invited him to engage with him, that takes away his right to stand your ground. So once again, we'll learn more about that. We're going to learn more about that. But if he actually had invited him to engage with him, there's no longer a stand your ground case. It is manslaughter. So don't know where I stand on that. And there's some really good questions asked. What if the races were reversed? And when we look at the Trayvon Martin case, basically, had Trayvon had a knife on him and stabbed Zimmerman before Zimmerman had a chance to shoot him, would he have been charged? So a lot of things going on with that. But I want to stay right here on this Austin Metcalf case, as well as Carmelo Anthony case. Anyone wants to jump in? Anyone has a contribution? Anyone want to contribute to this?
Um, I'm not sure. Is it Jonathan that I'm speaking to?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan. What a wonderful discussion that everyone's having. And I'm really appreciating listening to everyone's perspectives this evening on it, on such an important topic that we really need to talk about uh, because our younger generations are really at stake. For me, I I really feel for both families. I feel for both families. I mean, these are two young men that had their lives ahead of them, both young men having their lives ahead of them. A question that comes up for me in regards to this, because we have had family conversations about it, I think it's important to talk about, was, in these situations, where are the adults? I get that they were a certain age and everything, but they're not. Their brains, their prefrontal cortexes, they're not fully formed. So we are going to have some, especially at a sporting event, we're going to have some aggression, you know, um, come out, right? The kids are going to get mouthy with one another. I think that's something that we can't deny. So, a question that comes up for me is, where were the adults, right? To kind of, be there as just a presence, to mediate, whether it was a volunteer situation or I don't know, it was someone else that was, but I feel like there needs to be adult presence again as a mediator. I don't feel like we can ignore that, because again, here we have two young men, that had their lives ahead of them, and now instead of enjoying the things that they were, or that they're here and created to enjoy, we're having this conversation. So I'm not sure what everyone else feels about that. The other thing that is coming up for me is that, I think this is really a call for us to come together and share the perspectives that we are doing, this evening, but also come up with some solutions, right? So we can start, heading off these situations where our young people are getting into altercations like this, and that there's so much anger everywhere for all children, you know, um, and helping them, navigate this. As a parent of two boys myself, 120 and 114, we have open dialogue a lot about current events, about things that are going on in their school. Um, there's bullying happening everywhere. You know, it's a real thing. But I'm really interested to hear what everyone has to say about these things, and can we come
Yeah.
together and create some workable solutions?
All right. So appreciate that. Right. That's great. Um. So like looking at this situation specifically, the Austin and Carmelo thing. Uh. The first of all, the law is not going to be on Carmelo's side, and I'm just getting this out the way because in order for stand your ground to be behind you, like you have to be in line with the law, right? There's a difference between stand your ground laws protect you and self defense protecting you. And there's a lot of extenuating circumstances where little brother was suspended from school, wasn't supposed to be there, had a weapon at a school function. All those things are going to go against him, right? So I'm just getting that out the way. Um, he was
Wait, wait,
in
wait. What are you talking about? Suspended from school, wasn't supposed to be there.
right. So he was suspended from school or something along those lines where he wasn't supposed to be at that track meet. Now,
Cap. That's
Where,
not
where,
true.
where, where are you getting this information from?
Go ahead, TC.
yeah. So it's all news stuff, right? So they're saying different things, right? So on one side, it say that he skipped school and he was not supposed to be at the track meet, and on the other side, they say that he was suspended from school. Now I don't know which one it is, right? I don't know which one it
Well,
is.
neither one, because they both got to the track meet via Frisco ISD, but via buses,
Well, okay,
Frisco
okay, but
buses. So they were both bused there,
so
and
that's
both
one of the things that they're
and they
saying
were
is
actually participating in the track meet.
so that's one of the things they're saying that the coach was out of line for letting him go because he wasn't supposed to be there. Now the news lies, right? We all know that, and they hear one thing and they go with it, right? So I don't know which of the things it actually is. But it is summated at the end of it all, he wasn't supposed to be at that event, right? And then even if you argue that, right? Because again, the news lies. You never really know. He wasn't supposed to be in that tent, okay? So I'm just saying legally, the law is not going to be behind no brother. It's not going to happen. So that defense is not going to work, right? That's the problem kind of with all of this is all hearsay. If one news channel say this, one say that, one person's testimony say this, and the other one say that. But the only thing we
You
know,
made that up. You made that up.
no,
Absolutely
I
made
didn't.
it up.
No, I didn't make that up. That's goofy. Why would I? That's
But
goofy.
what are you saying though? You saying somebody wasn't supposed to be there. What happened
That's what I'm
happened.
saying.
I'm trying to like I'm
No,
waiting
no,
for you to
no, no,
get to
no.
the
Listen,
point
listen,
of what are you
listen,
trying to
listen,
get
listen.
to?
I'm saying the law is not going to be behind him because whether it is that he wasn't supposed to be there because he was suspended, which news channels have said, or he wasn't there because he skipped school, right? Or he was there, the coach let him go, but he wasn't supposed to go, or it was that he had a weapon at a school event which he wasn't supposed to have. The
Who are
law,
you talking
I don't
about?
even know what you're
Yeah,
saying,
I'm
this
talking
bro.
guy's all
about
over
Like
the place.
that
Right, it's
yeah,
like
what
17 different
like
orbs.
what
Like,
are you
what's
no,
talking
happening?
about?
but that's
Who,
the problem.
who are you
That
talking about? Austin
I'm talking
Metcalf
about
or
Carmelo. I'm talking about
Carmelo
Carmelo.
Anthony?
Austin should have never put that boy should have never put himself in a position to try to pay the police. He should have never done that. Okay,
To
but
try to, play the
Hmm?
police.
yes, but what
Okay,
I'm
so he
saying
should
is,
not have initiated
what
or
I am saying
confronted
is, yeah, but what I'm
Carmelo.
saying is, the only thing that I know, because everything is hearsay, is the law is not going to be on his behalf because at the end of it all, regardless of which news source you believe or which testimony you believe, little brother Carmelo was not supposed to have a weapon at that event. That's the one guarantee. That was my whole point of saying it the way I did, was because it is all skeptic, is all hearsay,
Did
except that he was not supposed to have a
from
weapon there.
that's a tent knife. That wasn't come. It really didn't come out of his book bag. It came from the tent that he was in. Did you hear that
Okay,
too?
It
Hold
it
on, hold on,
came
hold on.
from the book bag.
Allegedly,
The
allegedly.
so
affidavit says
Hold,
that
came
he
hold on.
from the book
pulled the
bag.
Allegedly.
knife
Excuse me.
out of
Excuse me.
his book.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Allegedly. Excuse
The
me.
affidavit said
Excuse
that he
me.
pulled the knife out of
Excuse
his
me.
book
We
bag.
heard five different stories about everything. We don't
No,
know
that's
everything. It's
that's
still
exactly
it's
right.
allegedly
I'm telling you what
allegedly.
the police
Okay. Oh my God.
affidavit
It
But
said.
and I heard what you say, but it said a lot of stuff in the police affidavit that it's contradictory. And one minute it's
let me
saying this, and one minute it's saying something different. So we don't know the big of the story. It's still an
The
investigation.
the
So
the
my whole point. This
spokesperson
is what
also, I played it a little earlier. The spokesperson said that both of those children were supposed to be at that track
that's what
meet.
I'm saying.
It
So
was
why did you
on a
cut me off to say?
Wednesday. It
Why
was
did you
April
cut
the
me off
2nd.
when I was saying
As it, hello? What you say, Mel?
she didn't want you to cut her off. But look, that's what all I'm saying. At
Well,
the end of the day,
hold
is
on.
the
Let her finish.
well
There's a delay
respectfully,
from chatter
respectfully,
to
y'all hopped in
ch.
front of me
So
though.
sorry about that. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, y'all hopped in front of me respectfully.
only
Not,
thing I'm saying is it's just you don't know nothing. We are speculation. It's a
Thank you.
legend. It's not nobody and nobody really know what because that they from what if you listen and you hear more about the story, they say that it didn't come from his book bag. It was a tent knife or one of something that had something to do with the tent. So it's so many different stories until we really know the truth. We cannot really speak on everything because he did not have that knife in his book bag.
Well,
That's
so
just somebody. That's go ahead.
that's all I was speaking to is that legally, and that's why I said it the way I said it because regardless of the circumstances, unfortunately, stand my ground law will not protect him. First of all, that's the first thing because stand my ground law and self defense law is two different things.
Stand your ground
No,
is
no,
self
yeah,
defense.
yeah, but
Real,
stand
real
my
quick,
ground
Mac.
because I'm talking about me and my with the what. But it is simply those are two different things, and
Real,
it
real
is
quick,
that.
Mac.
Go look. Just real quick. It is that
Just
me.
let him land so we can move
Well,
past
no,
this
I'm gonna land
nonsense.
here. I'm gonna land here. Here's the sad part. Both of them young men's life is ruined. The law is not going to protect Carmelo, regardless of which way the defense tries to go. And Austin Metcalf is dead. Simple. Let's leave it there then.
I just wanted to bring up something for for where you're
First.
saying the law would not protect him. Are you aware of felons who have used stand your ground? You know, people who aren't supposed to have guns, weapons, but they have successfully used stand your ground because you being
Yeah,
a felon, you not supposed to have this or have that does not. remove your right to utilize stand your ground.
That's why I said first, stand your ground is not going to protect him. Self defense though is because it is equal and opposite. I mean, it's equal force.
That
It is
is
equal force.
that stand your ground. Do you understand what that means in the state of Texas?
To a certain degree, yes, but it is equal force, and there is a difference between inside your
No,
home and
no,
outside
it
your
is
home.
not. It is reasonable, not equal.
Okay,
The
okay.
word in the law
Respectfully,
is
you are correctly.
reasonable.
No, no, no.
You're
You're correctly
missing,
stating
right?
that.
And there are
But
other qualifications, but stand your
reasonable is also
ground does not
equal.
say anything about equal
No, no, no. Look, reasonable is
force.
also
You
equal at
know
a
what's
school track
crazy?
meet where no weapon was involved on the other
Y'all are
side and the
talking
kid wasn't
about
being jumped.
y'all talking about this situation, right? It was two brothers, two brothers, two white boys that was big ass, very brothers, and they big, and they stepped to another guy, a black dude, and told him, "No, listen, you sitting in my seat, you can't be here." Two guys against one. Now, think about this. What I'm saying, you one person, you're a black man and two white boys step to you and say, "Yo, you ain't supposed to be here. You ain't, you know what I mean? You gotta leave." Like, what the fuck is you thinking at that time? Like, yo, is both of y'all put your hands on me? Yo, you great find out what's great happen. It's great go down. Like, let's keep it funky. Let's for real. Y'all
Hey,
talking
respectfully
about
though,
so no, hold up, wait a minute. Let me land. All right,
no, yeah,
let me
land.
land. Let me land. Y'all talking about all this like stand your ground, this and all that crazy shit. Two white boys stepped to y'all. They had no business if they felt like he shouldn't have been there. First of all, where the fuck do they get the authority? They felt like they got the authority to tell somebody they ain't supposed to be some fucking place. I don't give a fuck where it's at. You know what I mean?
So very similar to a Ahmaud Arbery,
Hold
correct?
on, slow down.
That they attempted to use a standing
They
ground law.
where they at. They where the fuck he's where the fuck he's at. If you felt like he wasn't supposed to be there, y'all stewards go tell somebody. Who the fuck is y'all to tell him, yo, you ain't
Yeah,
supposed
Ooh,
to
one
your
be
second.
here?
mouth is
Wait,
filthy.
slow down.
One second. I'm
Let
sorry.
me
I just,
land
yeah.
my
You
plane.
got to
Can
tone
I
that down,
finish?
bro. You
Can
got to
I
tone that down. You can say what
Okay,
you need to say,
okay,
but you got to
you
tone that
right.
down some,
Okay,
sir.
okay. I tone it down, even though we on Clubhouse, a public situation. But okay, I tone it down.
Yeah, I know, but
I
once
dig it.
again,
All right,
this
I'm
is
not
this is
trying to go back and forth
that
with you. I
we
got
don't do that
I
in
got
debate the
you. I
news,
got
man.
you. I got you. I got you. I got you. But what I'm saying is that where does this guy? I'm sorry he lost his life. You know what I mean? I don't agree with none of that. Losing lives and killing people. Absolutely not. But what I'm saying is that where does the where why did him and his brother? It wasn't just him. Let's be clear. He passed away. He died. Absolutely. But it was him and his brother that stepped to the dude. Two of them against one and said what they said to him. You're not supposed to be. We don't know how it went down. None of us was there. But I'm quite sure.
But how do
Y'all
y'all make these statements
hold
and
on.
then these
Wait a
definitive
minute.
statements and then say we
Hey,
don't know?
listen. I understand you want to talk and you feel some type of way, but can I finish? I don't want to
No,
argue. I don't want to
you
argue with
excuse me.
nobody. I'm talking. Can I finish? Are we doing that? Can I finish? Two white boys step.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, all right, whatever. Two of them come to you and step to you and say, "Yo, you ain't supposed to be here. This is my seat. This how it went down. Y'all know that's how it went down." And he said, "Yo, put your hands on me." And I'm quite sure with some more words. We all know that. We know that it was more words. Put your hands on me, and he went left on it. He did what he did. Now, where the knife came from, whether it was a stake in the ground, I don't know. But all I know was two against one. It was two against one, and he did what he did. You know what I mean? Now, do I fault him for that? No. Absolutely not, because it was two against one, and they had none of them, neither one of them had no business telling him anything. If they felt as though he shouldn't have been there, they should have went and got somebody that was over there. Oh, they all in school. They in high school. They should have went and got a teacher, whoever, and say, "Yo, this guy's not supposed to be here. He got a seat, whatever."
Wait,
And then
God
I'm
damn it.
understanding that it was raining or whatever, and he was there because it was raining. Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, Everybody's going crazy with this situation and don't know the facts.
All right, thank
And
you.
I'm
Madison,
done.
you want to go?
Then they all act like racists don't exist. And why? What was the fake
Oh, one
outrage
one second.
with
It's on Madison on Chatter. 1 second.
Oh man,
We'll
come
throw
on,
it
man.
right back to you, CH. Go ahead, Madison. Your mic won't unmute. Okay. Ma'am, on CH, you can go ahead and go until she can get her mic working.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right, check it.
Go
Check it.
ahead,
Check it
Unique.
real quick. This
Unique.
is my only thing. Regardless of all things that the
There was a
individual,
woman trying to
no,
speak
no, hey,
on
respectfully,
on CH.
Unique.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Hey, chat.
Mm-hmm.
The stage is muted on Chatter.
Oh, Jesus. All right, I'll be back. Oh, on Chatter. Okay. No, it's not.
Yeah, somebody just unmuted it. Guys, don't touch the buttons. Madison, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just wanted to say it's a very unfortunate situation. But from what I understand about the law, it is the burden. The burden is on the prosecution to prove that he wasn't in fear of his life. And when it comes to this bullying thing, there have been children who have committed suicide from bullying. And I think that the one of the bottom line lessons, really, and we learn this in kindergarten, is you have got to keep your hands to yourself. Period. And when you're the aggressor, and I think I heard something about him inviting him into this. I thought it was more of a warning when he said, "Touch me and see what happens." Like when somebody says, "Touch me and see what happens," it's like just back off. And so, yeah, those are some of the things that I've taken from it, from what we know so far. But it's unfortunate on both sides of the issue.
Very unfortunate. Anyone else want to speak? Want to hop in?
Does anybody know the clear definition of what invitation means as far as the law?
No. So
What?
real quick,
No,
No,
but
we
what's?
just
what
Oh, go
what
ahead,
my
Mark.
my question was is just as simple. Was it two against one? Was it two against one? That's a question that I have. Was it
You're
two
in the
brothers
Matrix,
against one brother?
Marcus.
Was
So,
it was it
according to the
two against
police
one?
affidavit, it was 1-on-1. That they were both, according to a witness, they were both seated under the tent. Um, Austin gets up and walks over to Carmelo and tells him he needs to leave the tent. It had just started raining. It was drizzling at that time. And Austin told Carmelo to leave the tent, right? And I want to read from the affidavit or from the actual witness statement because people keep saying we know nothing, but I'm gonna tell you what I know, which is crazy to me. But according to the affidavit, oh, did my computer go dead? He walked over, and told him he needed to leave the tent. Um, Carmelo said, "You touched me." Hold on a second, because I want to make sure I get these words right. Um, because y'all keep making up shit.
Okay, but let me
Okay,
can I ask you this real
so he
fast?
said, "Hmm."
No, I just want to say this real fast. The guy, the white boy, he was with his brother, right?
No,
His brother wasn't
not when the
there
confrontation happened. No,
because,
sir.
because on the news,
brother. Can she read? Can she read
when
because
I
she
watch the
has
news,
statements? Oh my
when his brother is talking, his brother was saying he was right there. His brother got all the information. He's saying everything. His brother was right there. That's why I feel as though Carmelo did what he did because it was two against one because his brother was right there. He was with his brother. It was two against one. That's what I'm saying.
So if it's two against one and you see a situation, that's your brother, you would just stand there and let it happen?
What do you mean? Stand
If
there and
he
let it
felt that
happen?
both of them were the aggressors,
What you mean?
if you
I
were
don't
his brother,
understand.
you would just stand there and let the confrontation happen in front of you?
Yo, listen, this happened fast.
I'm going by
It
what you
happened.
said.
No, this happened fast. Listen, the white boy, because I don't know the other
His
person's
name is
name. So
Austin.
okay,
Okay,
the
he's lost his
okay.
life.
So
Let's
I'm
be
gonna say,
respectful.
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know his name. That's what I just said. Okay, so Austin stepped to Carmelo with
Austin was
his
the aggressor.
with his brother, and him and his brother are big. They not no little like they big. They big. They was bigger than Carmelo, and they stepped to him talking shit. Oh, my bad. Talking trash about you're not supposed to be here. So, I mean, like, I'm gonna just leave it right
So
there. I'm gonna leave it right there. Y'all already know where I'm going. I'm
appreciate
gonna
it.
leave it right
Let me
there.
read what was said. This was also what was said from the officer that was the school officer that was on the scene. And his name was Eduardo Cortez. He's a school resource officer. Um, so they spoke to over 2 dozen people per the affidavit. One witness told authorities he was sitting under a Memorial High School tent with the team while Metcalf and Anthony were sitting nearby. Anthony was sitting under the team's tent when Metcalf told him he needed to move, the witness said, according to the document. Quote, Anthony grabbed his bag and opened it and reached inside and proceeded to tell Metcalf, touch me and see what happens, the affidavit said. Metcalf touched Anthony, who then told Metcalf to punch him and see what happens, the witness said. Metcalf then grabbed Anthony to tell him to move again. I repeat, Metcalf then grabbed Anthony to tell him to move again. And that's when Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed Metcalf in the chest once before running away. Okay. When the police um, apprehended him, Anthony allegedly said, unprovoked, I was protecting myself. The officer then communicated to others that he had the alleged suspect in custody, to which Anthony said, I am not the alleged, I did it. Cortez conducted a search and found no weapons on Anthony. The affidavit states that while walking to the police vehicle with Cortez and another officer, Anthony was emotional and said, quote, he put his hands on me. I told him not to, while crying hysterically. That's from the affidavit. The spokesperson for Carmelo also stated, and I played that early in the room, that the two of them, he said, as far as what we know now, I'll say that the two of them had no prior altercations. There's something on the social media that said that they got into it at a party a couple of weeks ago and over a girl, and that was not true. They had no prior run-ins with each other as of what they know so far. Also, all three or both of them were supposed to be at that district level track meet that day. It was during the week. It was a school day. It was a Wednesday, I believe. They all rode the school bus to the track meet. So hopefully that added a little bit of context. Y'all got it.
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Did you?
first of
The
Did,
best
all,
case,
well,
the best case
hold on. Did you?
scenario,
first of
he still get
all,
expelled from school. You know.
fuck all that. Like,
Can I say
first of
something?
all, dude had no business telling him where he should be sitting at. Him and his brother. Say, listen to me,
It's
right?
like, is
Give me 60 seconds,
everybody's
right? No, everybody, like everything that we talking about tonight, and everything everybody's saying, y'all, nobody is including the brother. The brother, his brother was with him. It's two against one. If two dudes stepped to me, or any of y'all, saying anything about I ain't supposed to be sitting here, this and that, it's two of y'all. You understand what I'm saying? I'm sorry the brother died. You know what I mean? I'm not with that at all. Somebody dying. This situation could have been handled totally different. Absolutely. But the guy that died, they handled it the way they handled it. They didn't say, yo, let me go get an authority, somebody that's over us, somebody that could say, yo, you're not supposed to be sitting underneath this tent, yada yada yada. They didn't do that. They took it upon themselves to tell this guy, no, you ain't supposed to be sitting here. And he now think about him. You gotta think about him, right? He's sitting there like, yo, these two big white boys coming up to me and telling me I ain't supposed to be. And trust me, the conversation was crazy. Y'all know that. Somebody just checked me on how I talk. So I'm going to just say, listen, the conversation was crazy. Know what I mean? And he just like, yo, you touch me. Like, think about it. Why any of us on here listen to my voice tonight? Why would you tell somebody, yo, you touch me, and you're gonna say what's happened? So the conversation gotta be crazy. You understand me? It gotta be crazy. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
happened. That's
Let me
what
can
happened.
let me say something right quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what. Hold up,
Okay.
hold up. Listen, I ain't
Thank you,
Let me
finished.
sir. Go ahead, Big.
How
okay.
you got?
So
How you gonna
this is
think?
this is the
Wait a minute.
problem,
How
right?
you gonna think
We got
me
we
like
got a
I ain't
we got a
supposed to be
serious
here?
mental health issue in America, right?
Oh my God!
Okay.
They just cut me out of the joint. All
But
right, I'm
the
good.
thought process behind this situation is so crazy, right? Because first of all, Anthony Carmelo should have never put himself in that situation. Okay. Just think. Let's just think logically. Okay. You somewhere and somebody you somewhere where you're not supposed to be. Okay. Two dudes ask you to leave. What's the problem with getting up and leaving? What's the problem with that? What is the
Yo,
big
bro, Brad,
what is so bad?
bro,
What is
yo,
so
Brad,
bad
what are
about
you
getting up
talking about?
and
What are
getting
you
your
talking
stuff
about?
and leaving?
What you mean? Why is a problem with leave? He's
What's a
supposed to
hold
leave.
on, sir. Hold on, sir. See, this is the
Oh
problem.
shit!
People that think like that right there,
The
that's the
fuck?
problem right
You a
there.
coon? You a
What is
coon
the
ass
problem?
nigga?
What's the problem with
What
getting
you
your
talking
stuff
about?
and getting up and being a bigger man
Nigga, this
and
ain't
leaving?
Jim Crow.
These are
What's
kids.
Fuck
what?
is you
I
talking
understand
about?
these are kids, but why we not teaching our kids to be the bigger person? And you see a violent, you see the situation's escalating to be a violent situation. Get remove yourself from that violent situation.
Nigga,
Big
you
man,
a
will you ever punch
coon
in the
ass
face?
nigga, man. What kind of
I've been in
fucking
I'm
plenty of
asking.
fights. I've been in plenty of fights, sir. And I've
nigga?
learned from these
You
things.
a coon ass
This is what I'm
nigga.
trying to tell you,
You
bro.
ain't
This could have been
shit.
prevented
You ain't
if we
supposed
start
to
teaching
be.
each other how to think and critically think and problem solve a little bit better. If you see a problem, right? You over there, ain't none of your teammates over there, okay? And now you got two bullies in front of you, right? And they say, hey man, get your stuff, man. You ain't supposed to be over here, bro.
You
You
ain't
get
even where you
get on,
supposed
bro.
to be. You ain't
Instead of
even where you
escalating the
supposed to
situation,
be. You
instead of
coon
wanting to
ass
fight
nigga. Shut the
and
fuck
puff
up,
up your
man.
chest,
Somebody else talk.
and
Mute this nigga.
before you pull out your knife, just
Green
go ahead and
bean.
get your
Mute this
stuff
nigga.
and go ahead about your business. What's the problem with that? We don't want to do that,
Coon
right?
ass
We
nigga.
want to
You a
pull out our
coon.
knife and stab somebody. That's what we
You
want to do, right?
go sit down. You a coon ass nigga.
That's
We ain't
that's
supposed
that's
to
what. See,
be.
now we
We
call it
ain't supposed to
names.
be. We ain't supposed to
Now
be.
we call it names, right?
Big man. The problem that you're running into, right, is this time it
Okay, one
was.
one second, one second. Who is on CH that's a mod?
I
Because
am.
I've
I
been
was
over
just
there and
listening
I'm
to my
just over there chilling.
no
Is
no
there anyone
actually
awake over there?
wait. I was trying to get back to my phone chat. It's Ron.
What's going on over CH?
Because somebody is you dropping N words and all this other kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
no one
We don't
has
do that.
said,
He
done
just
anything over there.
he just called me a coon for my
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, who's that talking? Yeah, we want to. Yeah, whoever doing that right there.
Yeah, hey John, I was across the room. I was trying to get to my phone when I heard the N word, but chat beat me to it.
All right, can we get back to the conversation here? Are we done snitching?
I know, right?
Bruh.
He say he
No,
called me the word.
I'm just
Oh,
trying to get
okay.
the. I'm just.
1 second.
Okay.
No, no, no. 1 second. 1 second. First of all, TC, shut the hell up. Big, did you get your point off?
All I was saying was we need the.
Imagine a light skinned dude talking about snitching. That's crazy. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm just trying to give a different perspective of how we can, you know, look at this situation. Okay, the dude may have been somewhere where he wasn't supposed to be. Okay, maybe he had a right to be there. Maybe I don't know. That's not the problem. Okay, now if somebody asks two dudes, they're bullies, whatever the case may be, they ask you to leave. What is the problem with getting up and leaving? What's the big issue about that?
Hey, big man, have you what did you go to like public school, inner city public school?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so when the football team walked up to your table at lunch and said, "You can't sit here. You got to sit at the other table." What would you do
You said say that again.
when the football team comes over to your table where you're eating lunch and tells you to
Mhm.
get your fat ass up and get over to the other table? What do you do?
I'm in the lunch
I
for
didn't. I
everybody.
didn't. I didn't play football. I mean, this is what I would say, bro. And I don't want to like change the narrative of what I'm trying to say is I'm saying when you're in a situation where you can see that it's going to escalate into something violent, you remove yourself from that situation.
Hmm.
Where is the problem? And I'm sure if you grew up with a good man in the household, they told you to turn up, be the bigger man. Be the bigger man. You don't put yourself in situations to where you end up getting in trouble for it.
I got you. So
Okay?
so 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 so
So
basically so basically when they tell you to get your ass up and go to the other table, you grab your stuff and you go to the other table because you're the bigger man, right?
that would be the smarter thing to do.
All right, let me ask you another question. They catch you in the hallway. You at your locker, pulling your book bag out, right?
Hmm.
And they say, "Hey, boy, open that bag and give me your shit." You the bigger man. What do you do?
You'll give him the
Listen,
shit.
listen,
Oh, I just want to know.
listen,
Wait.
listen,
I'm listening.
listen, listen.
I'm listening. I just
You
want to know
keep
what
coming up with you keep
your
coming up
name.
with scenario. Listen, nothing is.
Hold on.
I'm
His
not
name is
gonna be.
really Big
Your
Man.
name is
Listen,
literally big man. What does the
listen,
bigger man do?
listen. The person that I'm talking, you be the bigger man, bro. Okay, you
You give him
don't
your shit,
defend
right?
yourself. You
You
don't
give him your
No
defend.
shit. You
pun
be the bigger
intended.
man because you know it can escalate into violence if you don't. So you go ahead and give him your shit, right?
No, no, man. No,
No, what do you do? Then
that's
what do
you
he
don't
do?
you don't give you listen. You don't give them your stuff. Okay,
So then what do you do?
you don't give them your stuff.
He
You
says
continue.
he grabs your bag. He grabs your bag and says, "Give me
Oh
your
my
stuff
god.
now, big boy."
Oh,
And what do
oh
you
my
That's
do?
god, bro.
crazy, man.
Oh
Big
my
man,
god,
big
man.
man, big
No, no,
man.
no, no, no,
Y'all
no, no, no.
changing the
Big
game
man.
for
Let me
now.
finish
We
saying real
talking
quick.
Chinese now.
No, we're
We
not
talking
talking
Chinese. We
Chinese.
talking about a specific situation. Now we gonna turn it to five different
No,
scenarios.
because you want to hop in the middle
Listen,
of a situation.
no,
You
no,
want to play
listen,
referee
listen,
and
I
move the
said,
quarterback.
you didn't even answer the first question. I said, what's the problem with getting up and walking away, TC? You didn't even answer the first question.
And I'm gonna tell you the problem with
What's the problem? What's the
I'm gonna
problem with
tell you
getting
the
up and walking
problem with
away?
it, big
Answer his
man,
question.
because you as the big man is coming into the situation as Monday
What?
morning
Answer the
quarterbacking.
question. Answer the
Dude,
question.
you
What
didn't
is the
get
problem
Answer the
with getting?
question.
What is the problem with getting your stuff and getting up and walking away? Answer that
But what is
question,
the
please.
but what is
Because
the
you don't
problem
control
with
me.
what is the problem with
are you
sitting
done, big
down and
man?
standing
Are
your
you done?
ground?
Can I answer your question? Or are you gonna keep talking over me?
What? If you answer the question, please. What's the problem? What's the
The
problem?
problem with that is that you're coming in Monday morning quarterbacking in this kid's life. We don't know how many times they told him to get your shit and get the fuck on. This is probably the fourth
So
or fifth
so
time
so
they told
so.
him, hold on.
Okay.
You don't know. whether or not he was the bigger man 3 times previous, and this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
He wants you to keep getting the fuck on.
He wants you to keep getting the fuck on, and if you have anything to say about it,
They
he
don't
should
even
have
go to
kept getting
this.
the
They
fuck
don't
on.
even go to the same school, bro. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't give a damn, bro. How many times does a kid have to
Uh,
be told to get the
uh,
fuck on until he
oh
says,
my
"I'm not
god,
getting
bro.
the fuck on this
Uh,
time"?
okay, you're right, bro. I can't even, if anybody want to have a mature conversation about it
I
because you
think
know,
This is the
what I
first time
think
I ever
you
what
agree
I
know,
with TC.
from
uh,
what I gather though, like what would bring in a seemingly suburban school district, what would compel him to feel like he needed to bring a knife to protect himself? What would compel him to do that?
Bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying.
man.
Bingo,
And it doesn't necessarily have to be
but
at
big
the
man
hands of
wants to get
Austin.
railroaded every day and bent over every day, and he
No,
wants
Don't
to be
don't
the
brother.
do
bigger
that.
man.
Don't
So
do
No,
let
that.
big
no.
man be the bigger man
Don't
and
come
get
at
See,
Black
bent
people
over
and
all
that's
day.
his
personal
face.
attacking. That's personal attacking for
No,
what,
that's what
bro?
you want to do. You want to be the bigger man, right?
That's personal. That's personal attacking. And I bet I can guarantee you, bro. I guarantee you, you would never be able to bully me. I guarantee you that.
Why? Because you're going to be the bigger man, right?
No, no, I guarantee you that.
Why? Why?
I
Why do
can
you? How can
guarantee
you
that.
guarantee? How can you
I
guarantee
can
such a
100%.
thing?
And this is not going to be a me
How
and
can
you
you
thing,
guarantee such?
but I'm
So
just
now he's
telling
not the
you.
bigger man anymore. Now it's a
No,
different story
I'm
because
just
he's
letting
a
you
grown
know.
ass man that's getting
I'm
bullied.
just saying. I'm just giving it a different side of the situation. What would be wrong with the young man getting up and
I see.
moving
So now
instead
that
of
you,
going in the
so now
bag?
that your
Instead
dumbass
of
is the one getting bullied. So now your dumbass is the one
I would
getting
never.
bullied.
I would
So
never
now
get
it's
up.
not
I
gonna
would never.
happen that way, right? You
I
need
would
to get
never.
your shit up and moving because I can
Listen.
guarantee you
I
it's
would.
not gonna go down that
I
road,
would.
right,
I
big
would.
man?
I would. I would have got my
Bro,
stuff.
you are
I
a
would have got my
conflicted
stuff.
man.
Hey
You
guys.
are unstable in
Okay,
all
bro.
your ways.
See,
You are
when somebody,
unstable and conflicted.
when people come with a positive way to look at things, don't nobody want to hear it. We want to hear the negative shit. We want somebody to go in their bag and pull it out and stab somebody in the fucking chest because they got bullied. That's fucking stupid, bro.
I have a serious
That's
question.
dumb.
I have a serious
That's
question.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah. The
if you
passion, yeah. Take that
if,
passion out a little bit, bro. That's all.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
if you're sitting down, right?
No, he's the
Seriously,
bigger man. Let him
and
have the
somebody tell
passion.
no,
He's the
I'm
big
being dead
man.
serious. If I'm sitting here eating lunch and somebody tells me to move to go someplace else, why should I get up and move? It's not being a punk.
Exactly. No authority.
Why do I need to move? I'm gonna stand where I'm at because this is what I'm doing. Why should I be able to move? Because you told me to do that? That's punk. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, that just doesn't make sense as a grown man, even as a kid. No, you're
Jay,
not
this
telling me to
this
move.
kid never went to school in a public school. He don't know what it's like to get punked. I know what it's like to get punked,
Well,
and I know that shit.
I'm not gonna
What
attack
to
his
do in
character because
that
I don't.
situation?
I'm not gonna attack his character. I'm just understand the statement. Like I'm just don't understand. I don't understand that. Why should I move? And
You
I
gonna
can't.
Okay.
eat your cornbread?
Okay. So if you don't move, then what happens?
If I don't move, I'm gonna continue eating my damn lunch.
And then when they put their hands on you, what's gonna happen then?
That's
He
when I
gonna get a
defend
knife in the
myself.
chest. Is what the fuck is
No,
gonna
Retaliation.
that's when
happen.
I defend
And
myself.
now when you in jail, what's the story gonna be?
Self
You was the right.
I was
defense.
You
there
was
first.
Hold
okay.
up, big
No,
man.
Okay.
I'm
Hold
being
up, big
dead.
Okay.
I'm
man.
being
It
dead
make a
serious.
lot of sense, right?
Zay, your
No,
mic is low.
who's mine?
Yes.
That make a lot of sense, bro.
No, he's good over here,
No.
Ted.
So what I'm saying is, it makes a lot of sense for somebody just to make me move
That
because
makes a
I'm
lot of
sitting here.
sense because
Really?
you was too, your ego wouldn't let you walk away from a situation.
So I guess it is. I don't know, but I'm saying if I'm here and you tell me to move because you want to be where I'm at, you think that's okay as a grown ass man.
These are kids.
Okay, as even as a kid, you think it's okay to make me move.
No.
16 years old, ain't nobody ever made me move from where I need to be at.
First,
I always take my get up.
Would you tell your son to do that? Would you tell
I
your
tell my
son to
son,
walk up to another child and take on the authority of an adult and tell another child to move?
I would never tell my son. I told my son, I teach my son how to be under defense. You're not moving him. He's not going to walk up on you, but don't put him in the corner.
No, but would you tell your son to go over to someone else's son and tell them to move?
Absolutely not. I would never tell my son that.
Big, would you tell your son to go up to someone else's son and tell them to move?
No, I don't condone violence in no shape or form.
We haven't even gotten to violence. I just
No,
said,
no, no
would you
bullying.
tell your son, hey son, if someone's not where they're supposed to be, you should go
No,
tell them to move.
no, absolutely not.
So what are we talking about?
So you just flipped that. But yeah, I hear you.
Man, it was straight bullying. What and no reason
Officially
he gonna
bullying.
have a knife just cause. And that was the end of it. It's way more than just what happened that day. You know,
And
Yeah,
that's right,
it's
Keith.
a lot that we're missing. You're right, bro. It's a lot
I
that
done
we're
been
missing.
there. I done been there and done that. Not what he did, right? But
That's right. There's
as
a
as as
history.
as as far as
It's a
going
lot.
through those same scenarios, and getting expelled from school
Hmm.
after being what do you call it? I don't. They tried to bully. It wasn't
But
successful.
but Maryland, you keep saying why did he go to where the his bully was? That wasn't his bully.
Exactly. They're at a track meet.
They were at a
Oh,
track
but you
meet.
guys keep saying bully, and you don't know that, and that's why I'm saying if he is their bully, why?
Nobody just
Is
out there
no one said
stabbing
that
people
he was
for
his
nothing.
bully.
Well,
Nobody
I
out there
didn't
just
say it
stabbing
was
people for
you
nothing.
said that.
You keep pressing that point, and I keep correcting you. I don't know why you keep pressing it again.
Chad, I wouldn't be pressing it if somebody didn't say it. That's the
Well,
only reason I'm
well,
saying it.
here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. I think some of us are saying the same thing. This kid has a history of being bullied. Maybe not by the kid that he took out, but he has a history of being bullied. So there's a reason why he showed up. He has a knife in his bag, and I said that earlier.
Do you think, Jay, he
I
stands
don't
up
think he had a
to
knife
that
in his
boy if
bag.
he
I
don't
think
have
the
that
truth is
knife?
going to come out. I don't think he
I'm
had the
sorry.
knife. I don't.
besides
Excuse
Do you
me.
think he
besides
stands up to
let's
that bully the way he
let
does if he
but
don't have a knife?
No, he got to keep
Absolutely
putting
not.
up with
knife
bullying. He got to keep putting
Absolutely.
up with
He.
bullying.
That's a good
I
point,
don't
School.
think, excuse
That's a
me,
good
I don't
point.
think he had a knife there. That was from the tent, and they trying to make it seem like he had a knife to make him look a certain way. I think they are pushing different narrative to make them
Well,
look a certain way.
who
Cause
stabbed the
excuse me,
boy in the
okay,
heart, in
you
the
know what?
chest?
I'm not going back.
The Holy Spirit?
Listen. When
Somebody
every
had the
time
damn
I
knife.
say something, you want. let me finish. Dang, I never get the land to say anything
You
without
ain't
you
saying
cutting me
nothing.
off. Well, I don't. I allegedly, I don't think he had the knife like that. Why would you bring a knife to the track? He's not that type of boy. His background don't seem to be like that. If you pay attention to everything, everything is allegedly. It's coming up with different stories to make certain parties look a certain way, and that's just my personal opinion. Sorry.
but even if he did have the knife, the both it was two brothers. Yeah, somebody died, and
Oh Lord.
everybody keep focusing on the guy that died, but he stepped. It was two people that stepped to one guy.
No, it wasn't.
He stepped
I'm sorry.
to
Maybe
Just
his
she just
brother.
I'm gonna
read the
say
police report.
I
maybe my
literally have read
statement.
it 4 times.
Maybe my
No, did
statement is getting everybody confused. I did not
As
say
far as
he has a bullying issue with
saying
this
that,
kid. I said maybe he has a history of being bullied, period, to somebody else. And
That
maybe
makes
this
stop
is
sense.
that, Jay.
That makes sense.
the straw that broke the camel's back.
you
That's
can
why
read
when
the
she was carrying the
story
knife.
allegedly, but if you listen to the
This
whole
is why
story,
Trump is
the
the
brother changed
president
his
right
story
now.
5 different times.
Niggas don't want to listen. This is why Trump the president now. The dude.
Obviously,
Okay,
you're not
Trump
listening
got
because
nothing
you've
to do
been
with this.
obviously you're not listening
Yep.
because you've been using the N word the whole night
Yep.
after being
But
told
Dum
not to.
dum.
but
I don't know
Jay,
if he use it again. He ain't gonna be on that
but
stage.
Jay, but Jay,
They gonna
but
send you
Jay,
to the goo.
but Jay, but Jay, listen, bro. Jay, listen to me. If you got a knife in your book bag, you carrying around a knife in your book bag. Why you got a knife in your book bag, bro?
That's the
Because
history of
Y'all
bully
want to
that he
paint this
talking about.
narrative.
that's the
Y'all want to
history
paint a
exactly.
narrative that's a negative. That's a bad narrative to try to paint. Because what if
But
he
who
didn't?
who
Because
but
it's so
who
many.
brings a knife just for no reason? That's a
That's what
bad
I'm
narrative
saying.
too.
It's a
That's
law.
what I'm saying, bro.
Do you
Why
not
you just
know?
got a knife?
Let
Hold
her
on, hold on.
respond though, real quick. Let her respond real
Most of
quick.
y'all
Go
got
ahead,
knives
ma'am.
in y'all pockets now, right? And y'all not looking for no
That's what I was
trouble.
about to say.
So stop
That's what
it.
I was
Y'all
about to
gotta
say.
stop. Y'all making this gonna look very bad. But if that's how the way y'all want to play it, then fine. But more everybody really got all y'all men's have a knife pocket. My daddy grew up with I seen him with a knife pocket. He didn't look for trouble. So stop acting like it's not normal to have weapons on you and looking for trouble or not.
Yo, so
Yeah, I don't know about
I
that.
know I'm not the only one.
It was he should not have had a knife on him
Exactly.
because it was against its school policy to bring
Bullshit,
a
chat.
knife
That's
on
bullshit.
school grounds. TC,
I'm
it is
sorry.
nothing about what I said was bullshit.
I'm sorry. That's bullshit
No,
because
That,
you're
that,
You can't
that
wrong.
is
bring
let
a
some
me
weapon
bullshit.
on property.
let me
That's
One
explain
not
something to
bullshit.
one
you. Let
second.
me
One
TC,
second.
they have metal
One mic on
detectors.
Jonathan.
even if
That,
you have metal
no,
detectors,
no. 1 second, bro. They have a zero tolerance policy. It's been read. Okay,
bullshit.
okay. 1 second, bro. Don't be disrespectful. All right.
I wasn't being
Okay,
disrespectful. I'm
then
saying
don't say
bullshit.
fucking bullshit.
It
Wait,
is
wait, wait.
bullshit.
Well, when I'm finished talking, you can talk. All right. So this bullshit is what you think you're doing to this. We have a what you call it? We have a fucking show going on, and you're trying to do it. Don't do that. So anyway, as I was saying, they have a zero tolerance policy. All schools have a zero tolerance policy about weapons, bringing weapons. Okay, bringing weapons onto the school grounds. I don't care what kind of weapons it is. You can't bring a weapon onto the school property. Period. All right. And guess what? It's a great fucking policy. It's a great policy to have. You're not allowed to bring weapons on the school grounds. All right. People get sued. The city gets sued. The state gets sued. The county, whatever kind of school it is, will get sued if something happens. So it makes sense for the protection of the staff and the children, okay, the students, not to have weapons on school property. So I don't care what anyone says. We read the guidelines. We read it like 4 or 5 times already. We're not gonna read it again for one individual. All right. The school explicitly prohibits them from having weapons of any sorts, whether it's razor blades or any. They listed all kinds of weapons, knives, all sorts of knives. All that was listed. We read the whole policy. So no, he shouldn't have had it. And that covers not just school grounds, school events. The school where the school is actually sponsoring the events and sporting events. That we shouldn't even have to read that. That should have been known. That should have been known. I land.
Exactly. And
But
and
but
that's
I
why the
think a
best
key
case
on
So
this.
if
scenario,
we're gonna have if we go
he's
hold
still
on.
gonna get
If we're
expelled.
gonna have
It doesn't matter if he
if
get
we're
off.
gonna
He gonna
have a
get expelled for
weaponless
having that
if
weapon.
we're gonna have a weaponless school, right? Then we need to have teachers in every bathroom. We need to have resource officers in every hallway. We need to have resource officers and
And we
coaches
used to
on
have
every
that. We
bleachers.
No, no,
used
no,
to
no,
have
Because let
no.
me
that.
explain something. Anything can be a weapon, Jonathan. It doesn't just have to be a knife. It
Man,
could
they
be
No,
a
had
no.
it
niggas
could be
shanks
a
at school.
it could be a lock. It could be a
Bro.
combination lock used as a weapon
Now,
that
now,
can
now,
kill
Now, now they
somebody.
put
And
locks
no,
in
what
no,
are
them.
you
no,
going to do with
guys.
One
No,
hundred
somebody
percent. I've
actually,
seen
no.
like, what
locks
are you
used
going to
as
do?
weapons,
Cindy,
and
we're
it's
moving
been
on. We're
used as
moving
a
on from this.
deadly
Okay,
weapon in
that's ridiculous.
schools.
That's
That's not
ridiculous.
ridiculous. That's
Okay,
We're not
ridiculous to
talking about
you. Just because
makeshift
it's
weapons.
ridiculous to you doesn't
guys,
make it
one second. We're gonna move
ridiculous.
on. We're gonna move on, and
Is
if we have to
what about the
remove someone to move
bullying?
on, we're gonna do
Can
it
y'all
because
address the
You're
bullying?
gonna have to remove
What
me
y'all do
then,
about
damn
the
it, because
bullying?
I don't get bullied. I don't know about you,
Okay,
Jonathan, but I'm
okay.
not
One
used to
second.
getting
One
bullied. You're
second.
gonna have to
Take
go
him
ahead and
down, guys.
remove
Take him
me.
down.
A knife.
Go
Take him down.
ahead.
TC,
Take him down, please. Take him
Y'all have a
down.
good
First
night.
of
Take him
all,
down,
I
please.
don't
Jonathan,
Thank
get
you.
bullied.
Take him down.
stop it.
Take him down.
TC,
No,
I
because
just sent
guys,
you a back
no,
channel.
because it's ridiculous. Because prisons are weaponless, okay, and people get shanked. That doesn't make it weaponless. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, the White House, you can't bring a goddamn weapon in there, but you can grab bottles and everything else in the White House. Okay, the same thing with the Capitol Rotunda. All right, it's this bullshit. I'm tired of these dumbass arguments. Just to center yourself.
About makeshift weapons. Like, come on now.
Well, I will say this. Here in New York, I spoke to a principal about weapons in schools. If a student who is a minor brings a knife, I don't want to say a gun, brings a knife to school, that student will not be arrested. They will deal with it on a school level. They'll get expelled or suspended, but they will not go to jail. So I don't know how it is down in Texas. It may be against school policy, but it may not be against the law. The charges, they did not charge him with the knife. They are charging him with murder.
But
So I
they
just
gonna
want to add
expel
that.
his ass though. If even if he get off on the murder, they gonna expel his ass for bringing that shit to
I
school.
understand that, but I just need us to understand that we're focused on the knife, but he's not even being charged for having the knife. I'll land with that.
So Texas Code 46.03 punishes anybody who brings a knife on any premises, including schools and educational institutions, punishable up to 12-month probation or 1 year in jail. Class A misdemeanor.
For a
Yeah,
minor, for a minor.
some
Hold on.
states will charge a
That's
minor for bringing weapons to school.
Right, but
Yes,
why
that's
didn't they charge
Texas.
him? We see the charges all online. Nowhere is the knife listed on the charge
because
sheet.
it was an
Be-
extracurricular activity, possibly.
I thought it
no,
was
because
because
there's a
of the
bigger
size of the
charge.
knife.
They have a bigger
I
charge,
thought it
so
was
they would.
because of the size of the knife.
If they have a bigger charge, they will go after the bigger charge and leave the smaller charge.
No, they usually have
No,
the
the
They
the
will
smaller
rack
law
them
ones.
shits
says
up.
if it's less than 5 inches, it's
Yeah.
legal. The school policy is that you can't. So that's why
No,
it's
I just
legally
read the code. I just read the code to you. The code says,
not you again.
let me read it to you again. Texas
We
Code
heard the code, sir. We heard the code.
46.03. There is no knife prohibited on.
He's still getting expelled.
We was gonna let you finish. I don't know if he got a call if someone dropped him.
Did
But
he
Yes,
again,
I have
when
a
finish?
question. I have a question,
real quick,
chat.
Cindy, I
And
just want to
Divine,
say
I have a
this:
question.
when we charge somebody with something,
I
it's
heard you,
usually
Cindy.
Okay.
multiple charges. I'm just saying, why didn't they
Yep,
add possession of
they rack that shit up, and then they try to
exactly,
get you what they can get you with.
exactly? And the knife is nowhere on there. Go ahead, Cindy.
My question is seriously, we've all been through high school. Did athletes usually get bullied? Usually they were the coolest kids in school.
Yeah.
Everybody had
Well,
a bigger person.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of hazing that
Usually
goes on,
athletes
and
don't get bullied.
hazing is bullying. They
Yeah,
haze all the
okay, but
time.
they do
I
their
got
own Divine, they're doing their own hazing. That's all bullshit.
kicked out of
These
school for
idiot
bullying an
kids.
athlete.
So I don't know, but both my kids went through school. I went through school, and no one usually picked on athletes. I mean,
Your
they
athletes
kind of
bully
were.
each other. Hell,
Athletes did
They
the pick.
stayed together. The athletes, they did everything together, and they were actually the worst boys in school because they got away with so much shit because they were the hot guys at school. They were the big shots at school.
I got kicked out of school for bullying an athlete.
Some
There
schools
is
don't get along with
a
other schools
hierarchy
and
to
call it
with
rival,
football that
and
we're talking
sometimes
about.
it precludes. I mean, it includes being hateful to one another.
But track is
That's what I
different,
meant
y'all.
earlier. Was there anything that went on between them being
Mm-mm.
competitive with each other?
According to the affidavit and to their
Chat, you have an
spokesperson,
echo. Chat,
I
you
don't
have an
remember.
echo.
Well, I
We
gotta
don't
walk
hear
in
it.
another part of the house.
But hold
Hold
on,
I think
on.
you
hey,
got
chat.
both your
Point.
devices on.
Shaq got 24/7.
Oh, the echo.
Either way, it's all
Hey,
bad.
chat. Um, if you don't mind, lean into that because the culture of track isn't like football and basketball, and I don't think people are understanding that. I
Yeah,
think
it
they're
ain't
kind
no
of
team
mixing
sport here.
that competitive nature. Yeah, yeah,
So,
track. This
am
isn't
I
this.
still echoing?
No, you
No,
good
go ahead.
now.
No, you're good now.
Yeah, you good.
Okay. I had to walk another. So, yeah, track is different. Track is not like basketball, football, even volleyball, right? Like you have your
Or
teams.
soccer or all that shit. They not on teams. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like everybody for themselves.
But I said that earlier, and you guys said they were football players too. They both played football.
Yes, they did. They football. A
I
lot
mean,
of
most people
football
play
players.
multiple sports.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the point. This is what I was asked to explain. The what the hell? The thing about track is you have different races, right? You have your relays, you have your individual events, right? So you'll have the 4x1, the 4x2, 4x4. Then you'll have the open
You
100.
also
You have
got
your
field
100,
events
your
like
You
track
have
100,
your
your
and
100,
100,
field.
your
your 100,
200, your
800,
400, your
your
800,
1500,
your mile, and your
two
600. Then
mile.
you have hurdles.
Javelin, discus.
Well, I'm not on the field events yet, but you have hurdles and all of those, and you got 100-meter hurdles, you got a 200-meter hurdles, you got a 300-meter hurdles, you got all
700
of
meter
those.
hurdles.
Then you have heats of events. So not only you have the race, but you may, and that's in Texas, our school districts are massive. I think they were a 15 5A or 11 5A. My high school was a 21 5A. It was freaking massive. That was a district meet. So I am sure they had meets. That's why the district meet was during the day and not after school like a lot of the meets, because it was a district meet. It was a larger meet. So I am sure they had to start during the school day so they could be finished by 9 o'clock, because there was a school day the following day. So there's that. So, and then, right, we are also, if y'all know how a track is, you got the inside where you have your football field or your field, right? So typically you got people, again, they're warming up. Right, they're doing some sprints. They practicing on the blocks. They're doing plyometrics. And I ran relay, so we doing 1 2 3 stick all up and down the thing. Turn around, 1 2 3 stick. We're doing that. We're stretching. Then you got long jump, triple jump, right over the air. Excuse me. Then you got high jump over here. I did that. Then over here you got shot put and discus. And that is just one gender. So you got heats, events, and two genders competing in a track meet. We are not sitting in the stands cheering like on the sidelines of a basketball or football game. Because typically, for a basketball game, you're sitting on the bench, and it's what, maybe 17 people. I forgot how many people, how many seats are there on men's basketball. Track, you moving about 2 or 3 buses of kids for one team. So it's not just like they were sitting under the tent the whole time. They probably, depending on what they ran, they were probably waiting for their next race,
Yeah,
or
they said
maybe
it
they're
just started
supporting
raining.
someone else's. On top of that, it's a district meet, so they probably have friends that they went to middle school with that may not have gone to high school with them. When I ran track, that's how it was. I had kids I went to church with that I saw that was in the same school district, but I only saw them on district meets or state level meets. So that is different than track. So you can't compare track and field to your typical sports, your basketball and your football, and track meets to your typical competitive high school competitive situation. Okay, hopefully that makes sense.
So to answer Divine real quick about the charges, I'm not sure if you've ever gotten pulled over or got into some any kind of instance with police, and they hold you on one charge, and then when you get to court, you have several charges when you're in court. I have that happened to me several times because there's
It's
one.
called over indicting you. It's when they over indict you to make you cop out to a lesser plea.
Can he finish,
Yeah,
please? Let him land.
so
Go ahead, sir.
I mean that happened to me several times where they pulled me in one charge and then ended up with way different charges than what that I went to court for. So I rest there.
Yeah, they trying to get you to plead down based on all the speculation they got.
So
Uh,
I'm foreseeing with this, they're going in with the higher charge, the highest of charges, and then if that doesn't stick, they then revert to the lower charges to see if something could stick. That's basically how the court system works. The one thing I learned in
mm-mm.
America that makes sense is lawyers and money. If you don't got money, you better got some good lawyers. And I rest
I
there.
hear what you're
So,
saying. I just
so
feel like
Divine, why do they have like multiple charges, and like if they get convicted on multiple charges, they get they can do those charges. They have to serve the
you
sentences
got
concurrently.
you got an echo chat. I don't know what if you got your bot in the room, but
No,
yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
It's
I
okay.
hear echo. I don't know if somebody has an open mic.
Let me
Guys,
turn
do us
the
a favor.
volume.
If you're not speaking, please mute your mic. But yeah, I don't know. I guess in New York is different. When somebody gets locked up in New York, you hear the laundry list of charges. I guess Texas is different. I'm not disputing what
No, it's
people.
not. I don't know what that guy's
It's
talking
the
about.
same. The
Yeah,
term is over indict. It's when they over indict you to make you cop to the lesser pleas. And to answer your question, Miss Lady, those people were still over indicted.
Thank you, sir.
This lady is crazy.
I thought it was cute.
Miss Lady.
I thought it was cute. Yeah, but am I still echoing? I don't know why it's echoing.
Yeah,
I'm not
No
talking.
longer.
you definitely echoing now.
I'm
yeah.
talking.
And your mic mad loud.
Like two of
Are
you.
you signed
It's
on to
like two of
both?
you.
Are you
No,
Yeah,
signed on to
mute,
I closed
Clubhouse,
out all
Sammy?
of my other apps.
mute across the street. If you're in the room across the street, you might be off mute over there.
Sound like red rum. Red rum.
Sound
I
like
don't know.
what?
I'm not on the other
You
one,
got auto
Leah.
tune. You got to turn the auto tune app off.
D.
Hey, chat.
Hey,
Hey, Scoops.
Scoops.
I have a scenario that really happened, and it happened in Texas. My ex-wife's ex-husband was driving a tractor along a side of road, and it was supposed to be a private road. The guy confronted him and says private property. He got in a dispute with him. This guy was 6'6", so the guy on the tractor felt threatened, and he told him if he keeps going on him, he was going to have a problem with him. He did it again. The guy came at him and grabbed his leg and started dragging him off the tractor. He pulled the gun out and shot him and shot him in the face. And this is real. This is in El Paso, Texas. And he ended up losing the case. He's spending 20 something years in jail.
All right, guys. So here it is, guys. We're just trying to get this audio issue fixed. I think chat is still showing up on Clubhouse. Maybe that's probably what it is. With that being said, guys, no. So what happened, school? In Texas, someone got shot. What happened?
Yeah, the 6'6" guy was trying to pull him off the tractor, and he pulled the gun out and shot him. This is after he made verbal assaults to him, and he ended up the guy that meant her ex ended up serving 20 something years.
Yeah. Well, guys. Once again, guys, listen to me. What the shocking thing that I learned tonight was that this guy Austin actually. Cindy, are you there? Cindy going through twice. All right, Cindy's not here. The shocking thing that I learned today was that Austin actually put hands on Carmelo not once but twice. All right. Now that to me leads way for stand your ground. I was totally against that, but if Anthony invited Austin or challenged him, guys, I know that doesn't seem like much to you guys. It's a big deal. If he challenged him, it's sort of like a duel, like a gentleman's duel. If he challenged him, okay, when he said touch me and see what happened. Those if that was an invitation, okay, then there's no longer a stand. You lose your your ground. Okay, you lose your standing ground. So if that could be proved to be a warning, then stand your ground may still be in place. But if it seemed to be an invitation, that takes stand your ground off the table. So
How you think they're gonna judge it versus a invitation versus a warning? What you think they're gonna base that off of?
Because they're gonna say that it was provoked. They're gonna say it was provoking.
Based on the witness statement.
Yeah, they're gonna say that it was they were provoking each other to
Cause
that's how
it's literally the way, like Jonathan said, the way you say it. Like, do it again. I'm gonna reach
exactly
it. I'm gonna reach in my bag, or do it again. Leave me alone. It's almost like
yeah.
the
But
context
how you
in
get
that.
murder out of that though? How you get murder out of that?
And man, that shouldn't have come out of that, but it came, and that's what they're gonna argue though. Literally, like the fact that what Jonathan talking about, and all that background past is what I feel like they're gonna revert to, not the sentiment in the statement because they don't have an audio, recording.
yeah, but here's the deal, guys, and what's not being said here is that the fact that he said he didn't say if you touch me again. He said touch me again and see what happens. All right. So he didn't say if. It wasn't to me. Doesn't sound like a clear warning, and that's where I think the problem lies. It sounds like a challenge. An invitation, and I don't know that to be certain, but and I don't know what the young man's mindset was, but that's something that's going to be debated. It's going to be debated in the prosecutor's office, and it's going to be debated in the jury room. if it goes that far. But it's something that has to be debated and determined. Whether or not he invited him or whether or not he warned him.
But if you're saying they're gonna argue the challenge, that if he challenged them, they're gonna argue his whole witness statements, his whole past about is he known for challenging anybody? Is that what you're saying? Because if he's known for challenging
No,
other,
no, I'm not saying he's known for challenge. No, if he challenged him, okay, it's not. No, it's clearly if
but
he
they
invites.
gonna debate
No,
if he challenged them.
one second. If here, let's just. If I say to you, hey, come out in the courtyard and let's fight, and we go out in the courtyard and you approach me to fight, and then you bow, you shoot. There's no stand your ground, okay? Uh, you know that's not what happened. So.
What?
But if I go out in the courtyard and you attack me and I say don't follow me out here, don't follow me in the courtyard, leave me alone.
But if
And
we met there, then we met there. So I think that would have
no, no,
been.
no, no, no. Once again, something happened organically. That's something that happened organically. What I'm speaking about is if he invited the confrontation, he loses his standing ground uh, protections. That's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully, someone here understand that.
No,
Yeah,
You
no,
I
understand?
understand it. I know the witness statement. They gonna dissect the quotes that the witness statement got from what he said. But what I was saying is they gonna challenge his past on if he had a background of challenging other people, and I think that's what the defense is gonna try to argue and make up some bullshit.
He definitely has no criminal history.
But that's what I'm saying. A defense will argue. A defense that want him to get more time will argue whatever kind of criminal history they can think of,
That's a
even if it.
prosecution, man. That's not a
It's a
defense.
prosecution.
The key's gonna be the jury. The key's gonna be the jury, and if they can convince one person on that jury that there's reasonable doubt, he's gonna win the case.
Shit,
If not,
if it's in Frisco, he in
You don't
trouble.
win a case as a hung jury, dude.
huh?
as a one person is a hung jury. That doesn't win.
Yeah, that's winning the case.
Okay,
Carlos, what'd you say?
I don't think so.
I
Okay,
do know it's
The case
I
with
mean,
the case
listen,
with
not
Trill.
guilty, a hung jury, same different thing, same
No, the
thing.
case with
no, it's
Trill. The
not.
case
That
with
mean
Trill,
he
and
can get tried
the
again.
defense will have a chance to go back at you again to try you again with new evidence.
That's true. That's true too. But it's gonna be even harder.
As I'm here looking it up, the phrase that says "touch me again and see what happens," it does not constitute as a legal challenge in court. But at the same time, you could see the qualifications of how he said it in context with what was happening. But it doesn't constitute as a legal challenge.
The question gonna be whether there's intent or was it reckless? Was it murder or was it manslaughter? That's gonna be the real deal right there.
I do believe he will get charged, um, but then they're going to have to roll back to a lower charge um, to make this even possible because it's not premeditated. Even though you carry a knife to school, that's not a premeditation because they never had anything in the past. They never had any meetings. So I'm not sure if, because here's the thing, I have a client here in Atlanta. Her son was bullied by somebody he doesn't even know. And how that person knew that her son, is through social media. So until all the social media um, records come out to see if they have, because that hasn't been released yet. The social media part has not been released yet, right? So until that everything comes out, we just have to wait and see where it lies. But I do think, just from the case, he is being overcharged when it comes to his bail, because as a first offender, $1 million for a first offender, I mean that's way over the top.
Man, that's
I
up there
mean,
in Collin County up there, man. We talking about shit. He needs to try to get a change of venue. because they gonna get him
Yeah.
up there in them two counties. I got to figure out which county he's actually gonna be residing in, but the jury pool is not gonna be favorable to him.
Hey,
Collins
Carlos,
County.
Which one is
Carlos,
So
I'm
it?
the
sorry.
one
Collins, I think.
thing I found out about courts, like for instance, I got a ticket here in on the way to Savannah, in between two major cities. And the one thing my lawyer is telling me, we never trust the small counties to handle these cases. Um, the officer tried to give me a DUI. Then I was laughing in his face. I even have the videos of it, laughing in his face because I don't drink, I don't smoke, and with that, he downed the charges to something else. So decided to go to court. But with that, he trumped up at least three charges that we end up fighting, and I won. But then say that to say this, as the lawyer said, I have a mid-sized lawyer here in Georgia. He has about 180 lawyers here in Georgia, and in Florida, another 100 and something in Florida. But with that, he says if you're in a small county, if you can move it to a big liberal county, you stand a better chance of winning the case, right? So, for instance, when Aubrey in Savannah, Georgia, they moved it out of the small county and go to the bigger county, which is more liberal people that you're going to pull the pool of jurors from. So, and that's where you could possibly win, right? So for instance, if we take a step back and we go to even Zimmerman. Zimmerman is outside of Orange County, which is a liberal county. He is up more to the north. So that case dealt with they didn't want to move it into the liberal counties, so they tried it out in the subs, right? So you have more Republican leaning people in that side of town. That's just what it is, right? So for him to win in Texas, where he's at, because that is north of the liberal counties, because the majority of that area he's in is more red than blue. So if he comes back into the city, move it to federal court, he has a bigger chance of getting a lower charge or even a hang jury. And I rest.
I know Texas got the most executions in the United States.
But he will not, because he's 17. He will not get the death penalty or get life without parole. I know he won't get the death penalty.
Oh,
Um,
he
I,
got y'all got youthful offender down there,
I don't know what that is, but
like
he won't
somebody
get the
that's
death penalty.
under
And
21
you
or
were
under
correct about
18.
life too. You were correct about not getting life as well, Chad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not getting life without parole. So he won't. Thanks, Madison. But real quick, I just wanted, and I throw it to you, Madison, and I don't know if Don is still in here on Chatter, but where did y'all get Collins as a small county? Because from what I see, it says that it is Texas sixth most populous county and the 43rd largest county by population in the United States. So am I missing something?
Okay, since are you still in the same page of which you found? What court is serving that? What superior court is serving that county?
Like Collins County is where he's being held. He's with the county now. That is the
You
county
said
that
Collins
Frisco
County.
is in. If hmm And you're in Georgia, right? Or do you live in Texas now?
I live in Georgia and Florida,
But not Texas.
not Texas. So
Ah.
Collins
Who's that,
Collins
Jottam?
County.
Yeah,
That's
hmm
correct.
Oh my God, yo, Jottam, come on, bro. You gotta land on a story and a location and an occupation.
To have two houses, Jonathan. I have two houses, one in Florida, one in Georgia. My wife is from Boston. What do you mean? I got to land on a story. That's what it is. That's 100% truth. Think I have to
but it
make up
isn't
something?
Texas. Like what we have to be mindful that when we talk about law and sentencing and things of that nature, like the state matters. right? Whereas if it's federal, that matters. Like all of the jurisdiction, those things like matter. I don't know if we can necessarily always compare apples to apples when comparing laws per state.
You're 100%
So
right.
I know
You know,
you were talking about Georgia, but in the county that he is currently in, that Frisco is in, Collins County, is the sixth largest county in the state of Texas, the sixth most populous county in the state of Texas. And out of the US, it is the 43rd. So it's in the top 50. So it's not a small county. Now, Madison, I'm going to throw it to you. I saw that you said that they were looking to change the venue, and I did see that, but I'm going to throw it over to you.
That's been what I've read, but he also just got new representation, I believe today. So from what I understand, they're trying to get his bond reduced, of course, because it's first time offender. Um, but I'm not sure what the new strategy is going to be. But I did hear the prosecutor of Collins County say that the people of Collins, the residents, should be the ones to decide this case.
Chad, I just got off the phone with an expert up there, who is not who is well known to the legal system up there. And he says that basically this young man is in a bad situation. He was on the border of Denton and Collin County, and I don't want to use his words, but they're going to stick something in him. So he's not in a good situation. He's in the wrong county
And
to have that act.
and that's why I'm saying, that's why I said what I said, because I mean I have clients in Dallas, and once you go outside of the Dallas Fort Worth area, it gets white, red. So if you move the court case from up north, which is McKinney's up north, and you bring it back down into Dallas, you stand a way better chance because Dallas is a more liberal city.
yeah. But Jonathan, I do want to do a fact check real quick. You stated as far as Maud Arbery's case, that whole case, the murder took place in Glenn County, and the court hearing was done in Glenn County. I think the reason why that was it's a small court space, but the reason why that has so much awareness of, because you had Ben Crump on it, you had a lot of activists that were bringing that stuff to a national light that had no choice to make the decision that they made in that murder.
I mean, correct Glenn County where it happened, but then they moved over to Chatham County, which is the bigger county with the courthouse, with the federal courthouse. So everything was done in Chatham County, which even the DA was a Chatham County DA who was prohibiting from locking up the guy in the first place. And she was tried right here in Atlanta.
Yeah, but either way you look at it, and that may be the case, but either way you look at it, though, the reason why that case went the way it did because of the activism that was put behind it. Had nothing to
Correct,
do with
correct,
how bad the
correct.
county was here.
No, it's not even how, and understand what I'm saying. It's not how big the county is, it's the demographic of the county. You let's just be real about it. You don't want to be in a all red county as a brown skinned guy trying to go to court thinking you're going to get a fair shake. It's not going to. 99% of the time, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Let's
I
just
think
be real.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think even in this one, I mean, what I'm hearing from Carlos, it seems like the Frisco is just where this kid is at. It's just not a friendly place,
Yes,
and I mean,
that county up there, and then my family member lives in Denton County, which is right next to it, and that's why I called him up because I'm like, man, dude, I know you've been locked up there, so
Is it like Montgomery County out here, Carlos?
it'll
wow.
be Montgomery County, Fort Bend, and Brazos and all that. But yeah, Montgomery County is you have to think of it like that. And I mean, matter of fact, I pulled up the demographics of it. Collin County, white 51.3%, Asian non-Hispanic 17.6%, Black or African American 10.6%, Hispanic 6.77%. Yeah, I mean, just looking at those numbers and knowing how conservative they are over there, it doesn't look good. He does need a change of venue.
It was crazy, but I'm gonna think a little deeper.
Ooh.
Um, say if a big crump, I doubt he would get on this case. But say somebody like that got in this case, is there a history of cases in Texas that activism put behind was pretty much failed? Because I'll be honest with you, I've never seen anything. Only thing I seen, which pretty much was doing some research on James Byrd, right? But do
Oh,
you
you talking
think?
about truck dragging?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you talking about James Byrd, the guy got drugged by the truck?
Yes, I mean that was justice served there. But do you think anybody, living in tech, do you think somebody like a activist could get behind this and something and make it go further? I don't see anything.
What I think will happen, honestly, is that there's only one crazy person down here who would actually get people riled up, and that'd be Quan LX. But Quan
Mm,
LX has to get paid to do what he does.
yeah.
So
I'm familiar
No,
with
He
so
that. Yeah.
stayed down. He stays in the same
Cornell is in
neighborhood.
Houston. Cornell is in Houston, but
No,
in Dallas you
he's in
got Lee
he's in
Merritt.
Montgomery County.
Yeah, you got Lee Merritt. Lee Merritt. It's a bunch of lawyers out there in Dallas that are well known civil rights lawyers that can get behind this and do it the right way. So Lee Merritt is just like the Ben Crumps of the world type stuff. So, but
Because
he out there
Cornell
in
X comes
Dallas.
with a hefty price right now. I mean, that's my understanding. This is
Yeah,
just
that's
recording. Let me
why a
stop.
lot of families are pissed at him because of that.
you talking about Quanell?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Oh yeah, yeah. Quanell is he's something else.
Because all that stuff going on in Jasper County, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's enough money to go around to help that crap going on. But anyway,
And I wouldn't be surprised with all the money they've raised if he has not reached out to the family by now.
But why? Why? That's a fact. Why would they need a change? Like we know why they need a change of venue or why they desire it. But what legal reason would they have? Like what case could they make for a change of venue?
It would have to be on the demographics, and they wouldn't believe he can get a fair trial in that county based off the
Yeah,
demographics.
yeah, they could literally say that.
Based on the area, you live in the area. Majority of people who live in the area may have a emotional attachment to that case. So that's one of the legal uh, advice you can give to your client. Say, hey, let's move this because of the fact that majority of your peers in this area may have any emotional attachment to it. So if you're bringing a hundred people to come into to the court and say, hey, we're going to ask you a few questions in regards to this case, the majority of them, although may hold back from saying yes, I am emotionally attached, they still have emotional attachment to it. Because you see that happen even with the George Zimmerman case. That's why one of the reasons they moved it, because there was a lot of people who have emotional attachment to it. So
But
you
we
couldn't
gotta
find.
also understand something. This is not a civil rights violated case or nothing like that. This has nothing to do with civil rights. This
No,
is
it
just
does not.
this is not civil rights. Now, people may try to
No,
turn it into like a civil rights type of thing, but this has nothing to do with civil rights.
yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with civil rights, but him having a fair trial, if he even goes that far.
Well, if we really want to
So
go by the jury of peers, I mean, it doesn't say that your peers have to be your same color. Now, the crime did happen in Collin County, and if the judge, I guess the judge will be the one who has to determine a change of venue. If they so choose to keep it in Collin County, I mean, nobody can cry foul because the crime did happen in Collin County.
yeah, I mean we could cry foul because not because the crime happened in Collin County. We can cry foul because you gave me $1 million bond, which I never did anything in my past.
Yeah, I
I'm a
agree with
good
that.
student. I'm a good
Yeah,
student. I do, my peers can attest that I am a upstanding young man. So if my peers can attest that I am an upstanding young man, then at the end of the day, the bond doesn't fit the criteria of what you're trying to charge me with. Because
well, you would have to look
when
at the
you
history of bonds in particular cases where somebody's been killed. What kind of bonds have
but
they handed out in the past? So if they have a
okay,
history and a record of handing out these type of bonds, then I mean, I think that really, you'd have an issue with trying to argue that. But if they have a history of handing out $20,000 bonds, $30,000 bonds on murder cases, then yeah, there's an argument there. But if they've been handing out $1 million bonds, then I mean, there's no argument there.
That's the standard for a murder. Is $1 million bond out the gate.
Who thinks the ACLU is going to come in and play? I think they should. It can't hurt him.
Well, but whose civil liberties have been violated?
Well, just to make sure he's getting treated all the way through the court system. Put pressure on the courts like they normally do, and so that they're paying attention to everything because it's going to come into play. Race is an issue in here. I see it as one, just because it is a, seen that way.
Oh yeah, it will come into play eventually, but I don't. At this point, I don't see it. I don't see what's going on with race at this point. Now, yeah, it will come in eventually when they sit a jury and they put a judge on that bench and he deals with that conservative prosecution. Yeah, you can bring race into it, but up until now, I mean, I wouldn't bring race into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think exactly that's when racial will become an issue once it starts going through the judicial process.
Most
Because
Is there
cases,
any
when
what
they
video
move
of
the
this
venue,
happening?
is based on adverse publicity, and this case has received a ton of
Is
it.
there any
I mean,
video?
listen to it now.
What was he
is there
charged
any
with?
video?
First degree murder?
They don't have first degree murder in Texas.
Yes, they do. They have first
Hey
degree murder
guys,
in Texas. Yes, they do. That's where $1 million bond starts. here reading
No,
it.
they don't have
It says
first
No,
degree.
they
They
hey
ain't
don't.
got
guys.
It's
five with that.
capital murder.
okay. Is
He's
there any video of this
charged with
happening?
murder. And we do have first degree murder in Texas.
Yeah, I'm reading it. It says in Texas, bail amounts for murder charges are typically high, often exceeding $1 million for first degree murder. You can be denied, although for capital murder cases, second degree murder starts at
Are you
250,
looking
some
at the
going up to.
statute or are you looking at
No,
somebody
Texas does
breaking down the
not
statute?
have first degree murder. Instead, we use the term capital murder.
No, we
Hey,
have capital murder.
No, I'm reading it. I'm
No,
reading it
I'm
right here
reading
in
it.
hey
Texas.
guys.
I'm
Hey,
reading it as
hey.
well.
Hey, Chad.
Hmm.
Okay.
As we're diving into these little intricacies of law, I think we got a couple people in Clubhouse that actually want to speak. I see someone coming off mic, but they're trying to be polite.
Oh, okay. CH, what's going on?
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, go ahead, Kingdom.
Yeah, I just want to know, is there any video of this happening? If there is video, why would they want to hide the evidence if there is?
There's no video. Everybody's asked that question over and over again, and no video has yet to surface. And the police have come out in a statement saying there's no video.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this, Ray. Right. I believe he definitely defended himself. Because I mean, you jumped somebody. I mean, you got to defend yourself. Even back when I was in school, I used to have a Mexican friend, and he always used to carry around a pocket knife. And he said that yeah, if I get jumped, I'm gonna shank him. So I mean, like, and I support him because no, I support self defense.
That's it.
Uh, I just I just want to say I don't think I heard this perspective yet. I hope wherever they have him locked up at, he's doing good because if anybody has ever been to juvenile prison or jail, it's get real political. I don't know if they watching TV in there or if he's like known to like what he did and why he's in there. Cause I say three scenarios could be happening. He could be in there just under the radar, chill, quiet to himself. Nobody really knows him why he in there. Or people could know and he might have a little following. He might have people like intrigued by him doing that. Or it could be a race thing going on. And I just want to add that.
What's the race thing going on? What are you referring to?
Black kids against white kids.
Well, isn't he in an adult jail? Is he is he in an adult jail?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's in Collin County Jail over in McKinney, and which is right by the courthouse, and he's in cell one, which is a observation cell, and he was probably in there by himself. And I mean, for leadership, we got to tour the jail. That's why I know, because I got to tour it a couple years back before COVID. But it's he's in, according to the paper there, he's location cell one. So they're watching him.
Thanks, Kathy. I also put a link in the chat that is his actual. Hopefully, you can click and it'll go directly to his arrest record. But oh, he has a girlfriend. Hello. And his offense is murder. It's a first degree felony. Bond amount a
I
million.
want.
Okay.
I wonder if they have him on 23-1 in that observation cell,
Yeah, so that's
if they
murder
Okay.
letting
one.
Thank
him
But
out.
you. And thanks, Kathy,
see,
for that.
hey, chat. I was looking at that. That's murder one. So when you look at the appeals court for Texas, case number 1769.00, that's the state of Texas versus Mr. Lawson. It says he was charged, and I can read it out for you. The historic purpose of charging you with murder one rule in hopes of assisting the bench and the bar with analyzing the application of this doctrine. So I can read a whole paragraph view of what he did and all that, where they charge him with murder one, right? So that's why I'm saying it still stands. But then,
It
as
does
you,
not. It does not. Texas, we do not have first degree murder.
I'm
Sorry.
reading a case for you. I'm reading the case now. Okay, look at
No,
case number one
I
one seven
literally
six
put
nine.
his arrest record, his charges, and the degree in the chat. I don't know what else to tell you.
It's honestly nothing to
Well,
argue about.
it's a
It's the
court
same
document.
thing.
Texas court
It's the
gov.
same
Murder
thing,
one.
bro.
I'm looking,
It's
reading the court
equivalent
documents
to
for
the
you.
same
First
thing.
degree murder.
Murder,
Is that
yes,
what we were
and
talking
it's
about? First degree
yeah,
murder?
correct. Texas, the state of
So if you
Texas
look up
versus
his
Scott.
arrest record, which is again in the chat, my
And I
God,
look and I'm looking at it, and it also says murder in the first degree. Correct?
it says first degree felony. We don't have first degree murder.
The felony is the murder.
Oh Lord, chat. I'm telling you, and I'm also reading. I wish I could copy this and put this in the chat.
Well, you probably should.
TexasCourts.gov, and I'm telling you the case
Thank you,
number. The case
Joseph.
number is.
Do
I'm
you
not
think
See,
Joseph.
so you looking at it wrong, Jotham, because in New York, right, you have first degree murder and you have second degree murder. It's not classified the same way as it is in
Understood.
Texas. Right? In
They
And
don't
Texas,
I
want to
the
hear it from
highest
me.
charge is capital murder.
Maybe if I have a deeper
Yeah,
voice
that's the
and my
highest
name was
charge.
Christopher
But
and I talk like that.
the other charge, which would be second degree
It's
murder in
literally
another
50
place,
different. It's
right,
the same thing.
is murder.
but if I'm reading from a court document from a recent case, state of Texas versus Scott Madison Lawson, appellant. And
Can you
in
I
this
click?
appreciate
document,
that, but guys, in the chat put a link to his jail record, and I put a link to the full arrest record. You can download it and look at it. It says first degree felony, not first degree murder.
I thought don't we got
understood.
on speed dial?
Okay, you know what? Let's leave that
Okay,
alone.
in
Let's leave that
Texas,
alone.
we have four different types of murder. We have capital murder, and that is the most serious homicidal murder charge you can get. And that is what other states call first degree murder or whatever, but that is when
I
it is
just
in
said that
combination
shit.
with another crime. That's capital murder. So, or if you kill
We
a
do
police,
not have first degree murder, was the point. We don't. It can be
then we
the
have
equivalent of something from somewhere else, but in Texas, no one is being charged with first degree murder.
in
Period.
okay, got murder, which is a first degree felony murder. Okay.
This
Then
is
you
giving Trump and
this is this
what is it
off
called? What people be doing?
our criminal code.
Translation. Mm.
Okay, then we have manslaughter, and then we have criminally neglected homicide.
Negligent.
So those are the four types of murder that we have, and really none of them do we consider them degrees. They're just the four types of murder. We don't categorize by degrees here
He's
in Texas.
being charged with first degree felony. Again, the links are in the chat. I don't know why we don't want to click them. I don't know. I
Hey,
don't
I
know.
got a question though. I got a question
I
for
am
Kathy.
disheveled as to why we don't want to click them. Go ahead, Jay.
And being Kathy, the only reason I ask you this question is because I know you seem kind of close to this case and everything. Do you think, based on what we were talking about earlier, do you think he's going into the venue, if he gets in their county, he's going to get a fair trial? What are your thoughts about that?
You know what,
Well,
Jay? Hold that.
I would hope he would, but I have seen people in Dallas County not get fair trials, and I have seen people not get fair trials in all counties, and I have seen people get very fair trials in all counties. I would hope to think that he would get a fair trial because I have faith in in humanity, and I have faith in our justice system, and I have faith in America. So I do. I don't want to go into it and think negative that he won't get a fair trial. But and as far as his $1 million bond, I have another real estate agent friend whose daughter was in a car accident last year, and she was a passenger. The driver got killed, and another drunk driver hit them. Not another, a drunk driver hit them. It was a girl, and she was
Hey
charged
guys,
with possession
here
of
on
prescription
CH, I am
drugs
going to boom the
that got
room and
nobody
reopen it in
charged,
5 seconds. I'm
and
going to boom the room and
manslaughter
reopen it in
and her
five
bond was set
seconds.
at no
Hey, if you're listening
charge.
to us on a
So it's
podcast, guess
very
what? There's a
common
volume three
to get
coming. So that will
murder
be coming out
trials
later on today. If you're
$1 million.
listening to us on a podcast,
So
Newsflash.
that will be
This
coming
room
out
was
later on
supposed to be
today,
exclusive to
Sunday the
this person
13th. All
only.
right. I
So
mean, the 12th,
appreciate
Sunday,
that.
yeah, the 13th. So that's what I
We
want you
think the
guys to know.
courts will
So
sanction him for a
this will
mental
be a second
evaluation
bonus episode
if
coming
he
out
has
tonight.
a
But
history of being
CH,
bullied,
I am booming the
or
room
he's
and
had
I'm
somebody
bringing it right
bully him
back
or
up
something.
immediately within 5 seconds.
That
I
would
mean, I
have to
think
go
if the
through his lawyer.
defense, yeah, if the defense wants to use that potentially, if that's something that happened, then yeah, I'm sure they will bring in an expert to do that. But just an update